I'm Rezlar.
I'm Frosty.
As nobody's really engaged quite yet.
Yep. Oh, there we have been. Oh, was that a triple stun for the Mystic?
And welcome back to the Value Pack. And welcome everybody to another episode of the Value Pack. This is going to be a fun episode. That's the word I'll use. I was originally going to say scuffed, but I'll say fun. This is going to be a fun episode because there's so much to talk about. And by that I mean there's so little to talk about. But before we get into it, I want to thank our patrons, Badriana, and Frax for Wine, Auscultation, Icarian, Jaskar, Eyes, Issues, Jeremy Johnson, Calhad, Lord Carrot, Mayo Knight, Minaria, Sinvala, and Talus Acceptum. Thank you very much for your support. There's no maintenance, there's no global labs, there's no anything as we prepare for Odyllita next week. So, yeah, not much to talk about other than just, waiting for that, basically. So I think that's what we're going to do, right, Frosty?
Yeah. It was a Korean holiday this week, so not even a global apps patch. Just nothing. We had no maintenance this week. Oh, we did have a Pearl Shop update, though.
Of course.
Mm-hmm. Which, maybe we could do just a what's new in the Pearl Shop news section. Brought to you by Black Spirit's Pearl Shop. Yeah, I do want to remind everybody that we do not have a energy drink sponsorship. So this week I will be drinking Rockstar. That could be you, G Fuel, or you, Monster. Feel free to email us, contact us, and leave a comment on the YouTube video. G Fuel just comments like, "Hey, we would love to sponsor you guys, dude." Okay, so. First things first. So we're in a little lull here. There's a lull in content. BDO feels a little bit like a ghost town because even the people that want to play BDO are kind of like just want Odyllita to come out, and all the other new stuff that got announced, the bond skills and the Marnie tag device, and maybe there's someone out there excited for T10 horses, all that stuff. And B, Genshin Impact came out, which is a very, very popular and quite fun little it's co-op. Like, it's mostly single player. I described it as co-op leading up to launch because I was actually kind of hyped for the game, but it's like barely co-op. It's mostly a single player game that's kind of similar to Breath of the Wild. Bear, not that this is a Genshin Impact podcast, but our friend Bear said that he actually thinks it's better, or might be better than Breath of the Wild. What are your thoughts about that, Rez, since you're playing it a lot?
The issue with asking me this question is I've never played Breath of the Wild.
You're missing out, dude.
I know. There's so many games and shows and stuff that I haven't played that are really popular. Another one is like Slay the Spire. Like someone, I forget who it was, someone in stream was trying to explain to me the mechanics behind this thing called like spiritual domain or some shit like that. I don't remember, in Genshin. He was like, and you it works very similar to Slay the Spire. I'm like, no idea what that means.
Yeah. Anyway, so a lot of people are playing that game right now, and in the meantime, so video feels a little bit ghost towny, except when you're trying to get a rotation at Star's End. It's still contested as fuck. But I did want to pose this question to you guys to start off. So first, let's make sure Nayashi is still with us.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Hey, welcome to the show. We're glad to have you on, dude. You missed last week with Anfield.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was a fun episode.
Man, why are you always dodging him? You got something against him, or like what's up with that?
No, you guys fucking planned it on a damn wedding day.
Well,
friend
it's
had a wedding.
Sort of the
To
one.
be fair, though, I didn't let you guys know until Friday, but that's when you found out and told me that we were doing Anfield.
We're doing Anfield, dude. I think you don't want to be on the show with him because that's the one class that you sort of hard counter. You know what I mean? You just can't take the heat. I wanted to ask.
Clearly.
So last week before the Korean holiday, no, actually now 2 weeks ago. So the week before last, not last week, but the week before last, KR got the bond skills in a patch. They got the Marnie Suspicious device, and they got the tier 10 horse, and they got the Black Spirit board game update, the little rework. So I'm asking you guys, in your honest opinion, with the launch of Odyllita, how many of those things are we also going to get, if any? Are we getting the bond skills? Are we getting the tag system? Are we getting the T10 horse? And or are we getting the Black Spirit board game with Odyllita? Let's start with Reslar.
I don't know. I feel like we won't get any of it because I feel like that's extra content that they can then put out at a later date. You know?
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to get in the mind of PA/Cacao, and if I'm in their mind, I'm like, well, we can save this content for stuff later on, basically.
Yeah. Nayashi?
I mean, depends.
That was well thought out. The
Sorry, I'm fighting as well.
oh, you're PvPing. I should have guessed it. I don't know what I was thinking.
By a Zerker, dude. He's been griefed by a Zerker.
Suck whiz on horseback. And
It's so lame. You're getting griefed by a suck whiz on horseback.
well, when they got more gear than you, what are you gonna do?
Oh my god. All right, so here's my thing. So Shadow, you know the whole thing with Odyllita was Odyllita's coming when Shadowlands is coming, right?
Yeah.
They announced the
Yeah.
Shadowlands date, we got the Odyllita date, and then Shadowlands got delayed. So it sort of threw a wrench into all of Pearl Abyss's plans. Now they're like, how dare you launch without us having content ready? And now they're going to withhold the bond skills from us until Shadowlands gets a new release date. Shadowlands is the expansion to the greatest MMO ever created in 2004.
That's actually a pretty good idea. That I would actually believe that. They'd be like, well, we can just hold on to this stuff until they re-announce Shadowlands, and then we can do bond skills and T10 horses and tag system to keep people on our game.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, there are a lot of people who don't believe that game companies do that. They absolutely 100% do that, and it's not a Pearl Abyss specific thing. Like, every game company does this. When you have competition releasing stuff that could hurt your game and bring players away from your game, you want to release something at the same time to keep your player base. It's what they do. It's what game companies do.
Someone said new tax system. I'm saying tag, I guess. It's early morning. You know, I got my morning voice still, so it probably sounds like I'm saying tax. I definitely wouldn't be hyped for a new tax system unless it meant I'm getting more money.
Yeah.
I think we could get the bond skills. I don't think we're getting the tag system. I definitely don't think we're getting the T10 horse. The Black Spirit board game is kind of... That thing's going to be under localization for about a year, so...
You're never gonna see that.
I don't know. I want all the stuff, though. That would be such a fat patch if we got all that stuff at once. But probably not going to happen. So Odyllita is coming, and this is a two-parter for both of you. Okay. So one, I'm going to start with Reslar because I know his answer is going to be quite short. So part one of the question is, Reslar, Odyllita is coming. What parts of it are you actually looking forward to, if anything? And two, leading up to Odyllita's launch, what have you done to prepare?
Nothing and nothing.
All right, moving on. Now,
There you go. I was looking forward to Thorntree Castle, but that seems to have been like canceled or something. I don't know what's going on with it. So yeah, nothing.
And Nayashi?
What I'm doing to prepare is try to get enough captures to get to C10 before the market becomes basically unattainable. Yeah, it's probably not going to happen. And then from there, try to get a Garmos Heart. And that's pretty much it. After that, it's just normal gains, because the Garmos Heart I'll use to get the 2 Danny slots to optimize the crystal build. And then, of course, the Dead God Armor for getting it to Duo after I obtain it. And that'll be pretty much the initial goals.
Are you having a hard time getting Capra Stones? There's only 47,000 pre-orders.
Well, so when they were at 20,000, I was getting about 100 stack every hour or two, roughly. When I was trying to get some within the past 2 days, I've only gotten 14. So that's an indicator of how this is going so far.
Damn, I'm more RNG carried than you then, because I had 63. I got 63
that's
over
pretty
the last
good.
2 days.
That's pretty good, man. Making some progress.
Yeah, I'm hurting for him too, because I need like... So one, I was trying to do the quest line. I don't know, I probably should just look into it. I don't know what quest lines you need, but I also am super close to that 5,000 quest thing, so I get the +1 fail stack permanently and 100 stack. So I've been doing the quest lines to try to catch up, because I actually never did them on my Kuno. My other characters have them, but my Kuno does not. I also need like 300 more Kaffir Stones, and I'm gonna have to manually get them at Mansions or something, because people ain't selling them.
Yeah.
The days of people selling Kaffir Stones are waning.
I think they're still being sold like the same amount that they were before. It's just basically it's the week of, and people are just crunching down, trying to get as much as they can. And unfortunately, like it's gonna get worse, which is hard to imagine. But I took a screenshot from what some KR players sent me, and they showed me their marketplace, and they're looking at 256,000 pre-orders on Kaffirs. 256,000.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's over fucking like 5 times what we have going on right now. And so yeah, I mean it's gonna get worse for sure.
Sputnik, you can say that all you want. I know you guys having Kaffir's problems, right? The other day, I had someone looking at the market, and you guys only had 4 on buy. So yes, it's happening to you slightly slower, but it is going to happen to you. Whether you want to believe it or not. Yeah, well, EU always does this thing, like, we have a lot of life skillers, so we don't have Kaffir's problems. But when they're max price and you only have a few hundred on the market, that means you're well on your way. I promise.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean
you gotta remember the problem is gonna get worse when Odyllita comes out, right? Because there's a bunch of people who don't bother preparing, and then they're gonna, whenever it comes out, they're gonna be like, oh, okay, now I can go.
I just know that every time someone gets the drop, they need at least 7,400 Kaffir Stones plus 10 Kaffir Stones per attempt on their Dead God armor. So it's going to be rough for you guys. Like in KR, they all life skill as well. They've all transitioned to like trying to life skill as much as they can to get Kaffir Stones, and they're negative 250,000. It's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. I noticed during the Worlds tournament, there's a big divide between EU and NA.
Dude, there's always a big divide between EU and NA in video game competitions.
Is there? I feel like in StarCraft, like there was never really a rivalry between the two continents.
Well, I mean, I think that's because the rivalry was more focused around Korea, right?
Yeah, it was more like the world versus Korea, I guess. But isn't that what it's become in League too, kind of?
I suppose, kind of.
Or the world
Nah,
versus
it's
Korea and China, because China's super good now too.
kind of, yes, but it's more like everyone just knows that Korea or China is gonna win. So it's like fighting for third place, basically. It's like we know we're not gonna get first, so we're gonna compete against like NA and like, these other like smaller non-Korea or China regions.
Fighting for
Because that's all we can win against.
Gotcha.
And then I have EU players in chat saying EU is better than NA in every single game.
Well, except your guys' gear score is lower than ours, so yeah. None of you guys need Kaffir stones. Apparently, you're all on Tavala gear still. So, except that at TwitchCon in the finals, the one time we could compete with you, we stomped your fucking asses, dude. All right, I remember it. Benzi was a goddamn hero.
An American hero.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
That poor EU team. They got so fucked because they didn't have valid passports, I think it was, or something like that.
Yeah.
NA has population, EU has quality.
Yeah.
I think the collective regions of EU is more population than America, right?
So someone says they don't pay to win like us. No, you guys do pay to win. You guys just do it smart. You don't list the costumes. You melt them into crons for yourselves when you do it. Our poor bastards over here are selling the costumes because they want to see the silver in their bank, even though they're better off just melting for crons.
They're just more selfish pay to win players. That's right. Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, dude. We literally don't pay to win at all. Yes, no one in EU pays to win. Okay. All right, moving on. Yeah, so I need a lot of Kaffir stones.
Well, maybe not anymore after the ban waves.
Yeah, except for RMT. After the ban waves, you're not paying to win anymore. You don't pay to win through official channels, is what you mean to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, Rez, you're not excited about anything in Odyllita? You're not excited about just the whole new zone, like the exploration, the new duo grind spot? Nothing? Any of the new items? Were you excited for any of the regions ever when they came out?
I was pretty excited for Valencia, which was a pretty big letdown because I thought there was going to be like a lot more to do. Because I heard about like the criminal system and about Muquin, like the bandit city, I was like, oh dude, this is going to be sick as fuck. And then it was like pretty lame.
Lackluster.
Yeah, it's like one of the most lame like expansions I've ever seen in a video game ever, in all honesty. So
I was really disappointed that they didn't expand on the Red City. I mean, it's not even really a red city; it's a red town. If that,
dude,
I also was pretty excited for Dragon. Dragon, I was pretty excited for because it just looked like a cool region. But then again, there's like nothing to do in there, so I'm like, why? What is the point of this thing's existence?
I mean, Dragon's problem is, well, first of all, it's a grind game, and Dragon released with no good grind spots, which was a problem.
Right.
Which I never understood, really. Like, why is Necropolis so bad? It's like a really well-designed place. Like, it looks cool, the mobs are kind of cool, and then you can't really earn money there.
Yeah, it's interesting for sure.
The pot piece would be a good argument if it wasn't out, like, a year and a half after Dragon.
Yeah.
Dude, you know what's so crazy to me is console has the pot piece, or the infinite pot, but no Kaffir stones.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, they're getting them started early because they know how long it's going to take them. Not very good controls and all.
They also are like, and I always hear like Succession is designed for console, and console still doesn't have Succession either. Which I find ironic.
That is actually pretty funny.
They'll get it one day, dude. Oh, poor console. I don't know, man. I'm kind of excited about I like doing the quest line the first time, even though I don't really enjoy questing. The one thing that makes it tolerable is when everything you're seeing is new for the first time, and it kind of leads you to every area. And dude, I'm actually hyped for the grind spots, and I'm hyped to have new things that aren't just straight up gear score to work towards. I want to get the new crystals from golems to have them for PvP. And I think the golems grind will be kind of fun and challenging, and having to get a party of 3 that used a full elixir rotation and everything will be kind of interesting. And the Dead God armor piece is working on that, I think will be kind of fun. And I already know Tauros Belt's going to be completely sold out forever. So I have to make it off of rare drops,
Yeah, that's
myself. It's going to be kind of crazy.
How far do you plan on trying to push the Dead God armor? At least initially.
I don't know.
Do you see yourself going beyond duo?
I would like to have try, but I just feel like it's going to be so hard.
Yeah, because isn't it a 5 or something like that % chance?
No, it's actually not that.
Or a really high stack.
It's not that bad going for try. If you have a decent stack. The problem is my highest stack is only 151.
Yeah, I have less than that.
So I figure maybe I could push one of my 110 stacks up a little bit. Oh, actually, I have another kind of high stack. I have a 126. So maybe I could push my 126 stack up with a couple duo fails, and then use. I don't even know. I mean, the idea of getting to try or getting to duo more than once also seems like it's probably not going to happen for me. You know what I mean? Because duo is so hard, and I don't really want to cron try attempts. That's why I think I'll probably just end up
how much is the cronning for that? I know cronning to duo is 1,500, right? Pride to duo is 1,500.
I think try is 2,100 crons.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe
That's
try is
not that much
2,100
more.
and tet's 2,700 or something along those lines.
Oh, I thought it would be double 1,500, 3,000 instead.
No, it's 2,100, but the thing is you lose the mass, you lose a sharp, a hard, 10 Kaffir stones, and 30 durability.
I mean, yeah, it's each fail, it hits hard.
Yeah.
For sure.
Plus the odds are just fairly low.
Yeah.
I would love, but here's the other thing too, is you only get 3 DP on every level.
That's true. That's very, very true. But don't you gain HP as well though? So you get some additional stuff beyond just DP.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, it's a minuscule amount of HP. It's 30 or something like that, but that starts to add up.
I think once I have it at duo, I'll just be excited that I have it at duo. But the idea of try is cool just because it's above C20, It's higher. It's beyond.
Yeah.
It's like a Dragon Ball Z power level, dude. It goes above and beyond. Dude, Rez, I still think about that time Mina was enhancing witch earrings. Do you remember?
Mm-hmm.
He rage enhanced witch earrings and came on and was doing the Dragon Ball Z thing. And he screamed in Discord and failed them both and then got off and was pissed.
Oh, man.
It was so awkward. Oh, the good old days, dude. Yeah. I don't know. Let's see, what else is there? If you have a Garmoth, do you have 2 Garmoth hearts, Nayashi?
No, I have 0 Garmoth hearts right now.
Alright, so when you get your first one, you're putting it in your dandy or your offhand?
Dandy.
Yeah, I think that's
defensively the offhand would be better, but I'm still in between offhands right now. Right now I'm using my Tet Kudum. I sold my Tet Nover to help fuel the Kaffir purchases. to try to speed track. And ooh, we got some Caffers from Marketplace. We're at 51 now.
Must be nice,
Getting there, Frosty.
dude.
But yeah, anyways, I mean, I'm primarily grinding right now. Yeah, the Nova would help me in some PvP situations in like duel for spots and whatnot versus much higher gear score players, but like I don't really have that much issues getting grind spots, so yeah, having the Nova right now is kind of not necessary. So I figured the money would be better served towards speed tracking towards the Death God armor as fast as I can, so I don't get stuck in an endless loop of never getting Caffers because of the high pre-orders, which I probably will anyways, but at least I'll get close.
I still love so much that you call them Caffers.
What's wrong with that?
It's not anything's wrong. It just it sounds like someone from Sopranos would be calling it that.
Caffers.
Gotta get your fucking Caffers. Yeah.
So I mean, I think the crystal slots will just ultimately do so much more for me defensively. Like either I go for homes or I move the 2 homes for my boots and put in Jin Hystrias instead for more stamina, or maybe I put in 2 max instead and get even more stamina and like sacrifice a little bit of survivability, which seems counterproductive to going evasion build. But I don't know, like I could experiment with a lot of different crystal setups to find something that I feel is comfortable. So
Yeah.
I think that means a lot more overall for my build and getting the special evasion and HP and stamina from the Garmoth in the offhand, which I do want to get as well. Like after I get the Dead God the duo and I get the Garmoth for the dandy slots, I'll probably consider getting a second Garmoth as soon as possible so that I can put it in the offhand. Because I mean those defensive stats are really, really good. And I'm actually starting to get a little bit of DP now, so it'll start impacting the fights more if I have 30% special attack damage reduction or special attack evasion.
Do you think that if someone were asking, if a Maywell came up and said, hey, I already have a Garmoth heart in my offhand, should I move it to my dandy? Should you tell them yes or no?
I mean, I think that's a personal choice. I would personally say yes because of the crystal slot setup. It depends on what crystal slots you plan on using, though. Like if you're going for currently you have 2 sets of homes, but you want to get a 4 set, this would be the perfect time to do it. You get a lot of extra HP, you get extra resistances, extra accuracy. Like if you only had 2 set home, you get no accuracy, right? And if you go with the 4 set, you get 8 on top of the 8 from the individual home pieces themselves. You don't get a set bonus for 2. So that could be pretty nice from a not only a PvE but PvP standpoint. The extra accuracy 16, that's pretty nice. And then or the 8 additional, pretty nice. The evasion, the DR, like there's a bunch of good stats with the 4 set if you want to go that route. Or if you're a class like mine and you are interested in stacking stamina up, then that gives you the option to do that as well. I don't know. Just depends. Depends on the personal choice of the player. Just be aware that it is going to be harder to get Garmoss after Odyllita comes out, more than likely.
Yeah. I was thinking
It'll take
about
a while for them to stabilize.
There's a lot of grind videos in KR that I was sitting there thinking about. Why do they get more trash than a lot of the videos that we have, with like just rare exceptions? And I do wonder how much of an impact. Yeah, a lot of at least like all the classes that I've been keeping close tabs on, and I do wonder how much of it has to do with they have
the slots,
because they also I mean, even if it's just Hooms, right? Like, let's say the cookie cutter build right now that a lot of people do is 2 Hooms and 2 special attack evasion, right?
Yeah.
But in KR, they can do 4 Hooms. So in their PvE, on average, they generally have a little bit more accuracy. And the Garmoth Heart and the Dandy is 3% critical hit damage as well, which I think adds up. I'm not saying it's like a huge amount, but it could account for 50, 60 trash, or 100 maybe, you know?
You think so?
I mean, 3% flat crit rate, or crit rate damage is kind of, that's a lot of damage over the course of like an hour, right?
Yeah, I mean, but most people in PvE are utilizing corrupts, though, right? Or are you talking about the dandy offhand
No, no,
ones?
no. So when you put a Garmoth Heart into your Dandy, you get a bonus stat plus 3% critical hit damage.
Oh, that's very right. Actually, I forgot about that.
So I'm not saying it's like a huge impact, but I do think it could account for an amount of trash, at least on some measurable
A
level.
little bit more, yeah. I could see that. That's a good argument. I forgot about that actually. So yeah, that's another argument for getting the slot.
Yeah, and then
Because it helps out your PvE as well as PvP damage.
If you're one of the people that all you care about is PvE, and you just ran no special attack evasion, ran 4 Hooms, and then you put 2 of the new crystals in there, because they have that one crystal that gives 3 accuracy and 5 monster damage. So if you have 2 of those in your Dandy, now you have 3 crit damage, 10 monster damage, and 6 more accuracy than everybody.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. I mean, I don't suspect that accuracy is too much of an issue in areas like Sakurai or Star's End. Like, as long as you're 63, like 62, 63, right? You should be already at a pretty decent hit rate. And then on top of that, your accuracy on top of that, plus all your skill accuracy. I don't really think the mods really have a lot of evasion built into them, you know? But
yeah,
the 3% crit damage I could see. I could see that being pretty impactful. I mean, it's definitely an argument. I mean, in most areas, like unless you're in Sakurai and you have low DP, you don't really need the survivability as much. So the damage would just benefit you more.
That's what I'm thinking. I don't know.
I agree. I think that's
but
a valid, a valid potential reason why you're seeing that disparity or that difference between people with similar gear score grinding and getting different results than what KR gets.
I'm gonna need someone to Carbon's pointing out there's a quest line to get Garmoth with Odyllita.
Yeah, but that's you have to wait for Odyllita to come out before you can even start gathering the scales, the Nova scales you need, and you need like what, 500?
Some like ridiculous number. Yeah.
And you get like there's a quest to get some. I think a daily quest.
I think someone did like if you went to like every Nuver and did like all the quests, like you got the maximum amount of skills you could possibly get. The minimum it would still be like I think it was like 2 months or something. Yeah, like a month or 2 months.
I seen something more recent that was suggesting a month. Oh, it's a weekly quest. Oh, it's not even a daily. It's a weekly quest.
That's if you get like the max amount of Nuver skills possible,
yeah,
which is
and
obviously
it's RNG
like
on how much you get.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of rough.
Yeah, so it's definitely a project, and like trying to make sure you're there for every Nova is kind of difficult sometimes, depending on your schedule. Like I definitely would not be able to make every one.
Dude, and Nuver sucks because it's one of the bosses that doesn't die usually. I mean, maybe it will with this patch, but right now it doesn't.
Well, not only that, it's also oh no, Nova spawns within. Yeah, he's a normal boss, so he'll spawn based on the time. Yeah, okay, never mind. I thought his time when he spawns is like the old way with the field bosses, where they just like have a range of times that they could spawn.
The window. Do you remember that? It's
Yeah,
like
the window.
Caranda's in window, and everyone's like talking about it. How long left in Caranda's window? Dude, I hated that.
Yeah, you see that in chat all the time.
Yeah.
I got a disto.
RNG career. Dude,
Hell
I
yeah.
can't believe I haven't got. I was hoping to get this mana pop piece
It's
before
another 100
Odyllita.
Kafirs that I won't be able to obtain from the marketplace.
I know. At this point, you should just gamble.
Hey, no, I can't. If I do, I'll blow it all.
Are you still working on a second disto?
Yeah.
No luck, huh?
Nope. I stopped trying, and that's when I got the pen red nose.
Dude, I was
Stopped
looking.
trying for the tabs.
I was looking at these new accessory prices. Like how they changed everything to basically be over 100 bill for tongue grad accessories, ogre, all that stuff. And I was just thinking about how, on one hand, I'm excited I was able to get my ogre ring before that happened. On the other hand, I'm really mad at myself for not just like
I'm trying to buy another one.
trying to get another one and like going super hard and grinding out another one, because
Like selling 2 Tet rings
Dude,
or something like that to get a
100 bill just seems so long.
ridiculous. Yeah. That's something to consider for the argument we had yesterday about the whole price of the accessories and whatnot for the DR Evasion argument, because you guys were making that point about the accessories being expensive, which is true. But then to get more AP, it's exponentially more expensive than what it used to be.
That's why the DR build's so good, dude, because you have Nuver.
True.
I don't know. It's like yeah, the prices make sense because those items are incredibly difficult to
they're
make.
really hard.
But I'm
yeah.
just thinking about, you know, it's interesting. It's almost a weird catch-up mechanic, like the whole. I mean, if the Caphras market settles itself, like basically at endgame, everyone's just Caphrasing, and that's like it, because the pen accessories are hard, man. Like that's you were saying you saw Optimus Prime enhancing for pen. Was that you?
He was going for some pen accessory attempts, but he needed to hit Tets. I think he hit a couple Tets, and I think he went for a couple pen attempts and didn't get it. Forget what it was. If it was Tongue-Grad Ring or if it was, I think it was Tongue-Grad Ring.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Maybe if this dead god pushes my stack up super high, I could consider it. The idea of going for a pen with how expensive Tongue-Grad rings are is
Oh, yeah.
That's so scary, dude. Like 10 attempts is honored bill, you know?
Yeah, it's insane.
Do you think it would be easier? I can't remember if I asked you this yesterday, but do you think it'd be easier to stomach making 6 distortions to sell individually? You just sell them. So like here would be the plan. The play would be.
Oh god.
I know it sounds crazy, but hear me out. I'm grinding like I normally grind, and I gamble Tet distortions just one at a time. You're trying to make a Tet, and then you finally get the Tet. You sell it for 19, 20 bill, whatever it is, after tax. You store that money. All that money you make from that disto, you just put in a warehouse. You never use it again. Then you start.
Well, you basically wait to sell the distos. You just leave them as they're.
Well, you sell them whenever they're high. So just
Yeah.
So we'll just say for around 20 bill is like an ideal time to sell it. So, and then you put that money away or save it or whatever. And then you just start grinding up for fresh money again from scratch, and you start going for Tet Disto and make another one. Do you think it would be easier to save up 100 to 110 bill, or to try to make 6 distos and buy a pen accessory that way?
That's a damn good question because I've heard horror stories of making Tet Distos, and I've experienced horror trying to make a Tet Disto. I failed 5 times, I think, 5 or 6 times. I can't remember. I have PTSD from it. But yeah, that's a lot of silver lost, and some of those were with crons. Oof. You could make the argument that through the attempts of cronning and whatnot, trying to get the initial try, like if you're trying to make it yourself or you're buying, I'm assuming you're trying to make it all yourself, like completely from the base up, right?
Whatever you're comfortable with. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't.
Whatever you're comfortable with. Okay,
Yeah.
so assuming you're cronning everything, which the downgrade potential is like 30% chance, I feel it's pretty high. Because it downgrades on me regularly sometimes. You could, I think you'd end up spending more money trying to make those 6 than you would just grinding it up.
You think so?
I don't know, honestly. That's a good question.
Well, here's a different way to look at it. From like,
I do like
yeah.
the way of doing it that way because I can't fathom myself grinding 100 mil plus.
Yeah.
I just can't. I cannot comprehend myself grinding for 100 mil plus. Like me personally.
Yeah.
Some players probably absolutely can. I can't. Like I don't think I had the mental fortitude to be able to just sit here and hit mobs for however many days that would take.
A lot of days.
Yeah. Like let's say I have really good days where I basically make it a goal effort to hit 500 mil a day. That's pretty fucking low for some people, but I got second disto. Damn.
Guess it's not low for you, huh? That's 500 mil. Right?
Well, I already hit my 500 quota for the day I'm off, guys. Have a good day. No, so if I try to strive for a low end, for a lot of players, a low end 500 mil quota a day, that would take me 200 days worth of grinding, arguably, to hit that. And that I don't grind every day. So we're looking, it would take me a year.
Yeah.
A year to grind 100 billion silver. I cannot see myself doing that.
Right.
I just can't. Just to get one piece. So I think the method you're talking about where you enhance multiple accessories, I've thought about doing this myself before. I was thinking okay, I'm just gonna make 3 tri-distos and I'm gonna sell them, and that's my goal, and that's how I'll get my next pen, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll hit the 1 try, I'll sell it, but then I for some reason have horrible discipline with it, and I decided to start gambling for the second one with that 5 bill rather than building up another without utilizing that money. So I think if I discipline myself, I could see the method that you're talking about working a lot better. I feel like there's definitely a lot better chance at me hitting 6 distos in a year than grinding 100
Right.
bill.
Here's another way to look at it. Let's say if you were intending to hit, if you were just I'm gonna go for pen myself, right? If someone told you all you have to do is hit Tet 6 times and that pen attempt is guaranteed, that doesn't sound that bad.
Yeah.
Right? And that's kind of what hitting
Well, the
distos and
problem
selling
is-
them would be in a sense.
Yeah. I mean, think about it this way though, those Tet successes, those are going to be followed up with probably on average 5 to 10 fails. Is that fair to say?
Somewhere in there, yeah.
It's a 30% chance to succeed, but I think realistically, a lot of players are seeing about 5 to 10 fails before they get one.
Well,
Which is awful.
If
That's
the numbers
awful to hear.
If the numbers are real, then yeah, it would be a 1 in 3 chance So you would
Yeah,
technically get a
it should
tet
be a
every
1 in
3
3 chance, and you should arguably say, okay, by 18 attempts, I will have all 6, right? So that would be like, that's actually not bad, grinding silver wise. That's not bad at all. But I don't think that's the case. I think it's a lot worse than that.
Alpha says, okay, what? Very few people are getting 5 to 10 fails for a tet. He wants to know where you're fudging your numbers from, dude.
What does he mean? Very few people are getting.
I think he means that people are getting tets sooner than that, on average. Like, obviously, there's people that do take longer.
Well, I mean, I don't have like a fucking spreadsheet of everyone's enhancements.
Yeah,
like,
Alpha.
I'm going off anecdotal evidence, yes. So it's probably definitely not the best, but that's the only ones I really hear about. Yeah, I've heard of people like instantly one tapping it. Shaky got one with a 59 stack. He just randomly bought a try, bought a base, and fucking tapped it. I failed 6 times with mine. I've heard of other people failing 11 times before they got one. And I've heard of other people getting a little bit lower, like 3 times. I've heard a variety of different things, but I don't know. It's all anecdotal. I don't have actual evidence of it, but
Well,
it's just to give you like there's the bad side. If you end up on the good side of the fence, then you'll get it a lot sooner.
right.
But there's the potential that you could be failing that much. That's just awful to think about.
Well, I meant to say that to say this. It's almost like the price increase is like the greatest catch-up mechanic of all time. Because...
How so?
Well, think about this. So let's say someone started seasonal 2 months ago, right?
Okay.
And I'm saving up. So it took me... I was grinding like when the COVID thing was like in full effect around May or whatever. I was grinding a good, I don't know, 4 to 8 loot scrolls every day. Trying to save up. I only needed to save 70 billion silver to get a pen ogre. Because I could sell my tat, right? So that took me like 2.5 months. So now it's over 100 bill for most of these items.
It took you 2.5 months to get 70 bill?
Yeah. But we're talking COVID where I'm using 4 to 8 loot scrolls a day.
So not a
realistic
standard
thing that people are gonna be able to do.
Yeah, that's
right?
like there's extreme circumstances where COVID made it possible.
And most people are not gonna be able to do that. So, but I was thinking about it. I was like, all right, now that these are 100 bill, let's just say someone can grind on average 4 hours a day, which isn't high end for an average, right? But let's just say someone could grind 4 hours a day. It's going to take them, like someone that starts seasonal with 0 gear score, in the time that it takes someone to make that 100 billion silver, that person is going to be like 269 Kudum or above from nothing. You know what I mean? Like, if I just start working on it now, I don't really have any money. I have 3.6
So you mean a catch-up mechanic for them to catch up to players that are trying to get those pen
Yeah,
accessories.
exactly. Like, just in the fact that me going for... Because my next upgrade is going to cost me a minimum... Let's just say I went with Tungrad Ring. It's either going to be a Tungrad Ring or a Distortion at pen. This is 117 bill. The recent price is 101, so we'll just go low end. 101. So it'd be 30 bill more than I needed to save last time. Or, yeah, 30 bill more. Or I guess 20 bill more, because I'd be able to buy it if I had 90 bill, because I could sell my tet. It would take me like 3.5-4 months to get 3 AP gain, versus like someone that's starting out brand new now with the way seasonal works and how easy it is to just buy materials and stuff. Like, they'll catch up exactly, right? Because I'm still like way ahead, but
yeah,
the gap gets closed over that time like significantly.
Yeah, but like, yes,
even you, like, so when I was
you.
going for my ogre, the amount of gains that you made, you were like 271 or something with Nuver, or 269 with Nuver when I started grinding for my ogre, like somewhere around there.
Something like
And by
that,
the time I got the 5 AP from my Nuver, you were like 280 plus with Kudum.
No, I've never been 280 plus with Kudum. I'm
Well, what are you right
277
now?
with Kudum right
Yeah, 277
now. I got the
Yeah.
279 with Kudum. That was the highest, but I sold my Tet Tungrad to fuel another purchase because it didn't matter. The bracket was the same.
Of course you did. And you grind what? How many hours a day? Honestly,
Well, I mean,
you're on the low end, right?
before or lately, like,
Well,
because
yeah, I guess before you started playing League full time as a professional.
so before I took a break from the game and went to League for a few months and just like focused on wedding stuff, I was honestly I wasn't really grinding like a whole lot, not like I am now. Like I'm actually really focused right now, but I would say probably 3 hours a day. If that on good days, maybe 4 or 5. Like weekends for sure I could definitely put out a lot more time. But like weekends I typically try to put out like 6 hours or more. But standard weekdays 3 would be probably the most I could potentially realistically expect to do. And some days none. So it just depends on the day. And then like right now I'm probably doing about 3 to 4 hours a day during the week and still about 6 to 8 hours during the weekend. Depends on when I get up. Like today I slept in, so I'm probably not going to get as much in today. Probably more like 6 today.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a long, the point is it's so long to get that. Like during that time, like the amount of gains you can make when you're not as geared. And that's just for the first one. And then here's the other thing too, is like, so let's say I want to get my,
You heard about Tet Oasis gear? What?
No, I haven't heard about Tet Oasis gear. Well, let's say I want to get both my rings done so I can get 6 AP. Like we're talking
Okay.
we're talking like
Half a year or more.
at least, and that's if I go hard. But probably if I play as much as I've been playing lately, or grind lately, it's like that would probably take me 8 months or 9 months.
Yeah, 'cause
And
you've
in
been on the
8 or
league
9
grind.
months, even if you start seasonal right now, like you can be relatively
That's a lot of
similar
time
in
to
gear.
get caught up.
Yeah. It's a lot of time.
Like,
and so
like you come out of seasonals with like 240 to 240 AP, 290 DP roughly, right? Like somewhere in that range.
Someone's
And that's
saying
pretty decent.
Someone's saying admit the economy is destroyed. You make 200 mil an hour now instead of 20, and playing for a year and a half ago, making catch up almost impossible. I feel like it's like the complete opposite. Maybe I'm crazy.
Well, all right. So I would say you can definitely, like a new player that starts today, that does seasons and whatnot, can catch up to a player like myself in definitely under a year, for sure.
Way under a year. Yeah, now, if they actually, especially if they're like super into the game and play a lot.
Yeah, for me to catch up to Frosty's gear, especially with Odyllita coming out and the Caffers being fucked, and we don't know when that will correct itself. It's going to take me a while to catch up to Frosty, unfortunately. It's like a little bit of a soft cap because a region's coming out, sadly.
The Caffer Stones is a legit problem. But outside of the Caffer Stone, it's like, you think about it, you have like...
Well, it's like, it's more than just that. It's like the Caffer Stones are a problem, and then you also have the AP accessories, or all the accessories for that matter, at Penn are just that much harder to obtain.
Well, they're harder to get, right.
So I can't even upgrade anyway.
Yeah, but look at it this way. Like so let's say you caught up on your armor and got C9, right? And then you just got your full Tet normal accessories that basically everyone goes for.
Yeah,
just the standard
so
wheel or whatever.
You would say the quote unquote soft cap.
Yeah, the soft cap. So you would only be behind me by 5 AP. Because I have a Penn ogre. Yeah. Like, even though you're not the exact same gear,
but I mean,
it's not like if you're 292, 292, 363, you're heavily disadvantaged versus 297, 363.
Yeah. I mean,
You know
I agree. Like, it'll It depends on how dedicated I am, but I still have to get my pen boots. I still have to get second Tet Disto. And then from there, I need to determine if I'm going to get my pen dandy or if I'm just going to go for pen main hand, if I'm going to stick to a succession. This all depends on how Awakening ends up turning out with the bond skills and the PvP buffs and whatnot. But if I choose arguably to stay on succession, then I don't necessarily have to worry about the dandy for a while.
Yeah.
It's kind of like last on the list. So then I can kind of focus on actual progression items. Like, do I want to swap out my crescent and my belt for Tungrad versions to get 3 extra AP overall to help kind of catch me up? Which, is a huge money sink for 1 AP each, but it does maybe potentially hit a bracket. And then Kaffers will be slowed down significantly, so that'll probably be the hardest upgrade, honestly, is Kaffering up everything. Like, the accessories they'll pale in comparison to how difficult it'll be to do the Kaffer upgrade, more than likely, if we end up like KR. Now, mind you, we do have a bigger player base than KR, and I think we have a lot more life skillers than KR, but
Alpha, I think yours is RNG carried. He's saying Kaffers are pretty bad, but you could get roughly 200 to 300 a day. Me and I we mentioned earlier, but I have had my order up since yesterday morning, and I've only been able to get like 23.
This order is about 17 hours, I think,
How
and I
many
had
do you have
59 out of 100, so
Yeah.
under a day.
I made that's what 63. I've gotten 63 in about time is right now. Maybe 25 hours.
I mean, ultimately, what it comes down to, everyone's going to end up having to buy life skill gear and life skill. It's the only way you're going to really be able to progress.
No, dude, we all make Musa alts and grind at mansions.
Yeah. Or, yeah, there's that. You could just grind mansions to get Kaffers. Sacrifice, billions of silver just to make sure you actually get progression-related items.
I'm actually really curious what the Kaffers drop rate is like at Tauros.
Hopefully good.
Good.
Wait, what bundle? Don't they have Kaffer bundles still? Or were you saying that they don't have them right now in the Night Vendor?
They don't have them. But I think they should.
You know what they should do? They should just add it to the Night Vendor. Like, I don't really know of too many people that are actually utilizing the Night Vendor these days, right?
Yeah, I don't think so. It's good for combat books, though. Since those
that's true.
Can't get those
that's true.
anymore.
Yeah, you can get like blessings and stuff out of there too, right?
That I have no idea. I actually haven't used it myself in a long time.
Yeah, I haven't either. I feel like if they added Kaffer bundles, like 100 Kaffer bundles or something like that to it, make it decently priced, but I think that would actually be a good utilization. I mean, a lot of people, unless they're gathering, they have a fuckload of energy that they're not really utilizing at this point. Like, I don't know what to do with my energy. I'm not gathering right now, so I'm just sacrificing it all into pots to sell.
I'm turning it into pots to gather for the stupid mana pot piece that it doesn't want to give me, dude. Oh my god.
Yesterday, someone got it on my stream while we were talking about it.
The gathering one?
Yeah, they got the tanning one. I didn't want to tell you, I didn't have the heart.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for saving me from that. I shouldn't have sold my life skill gear. Look, here's the thing. I could just make it again. I mean, I've gone through life skill gear like 7 times.
Yeah, life skill gear isn't going to be difficult to get back if you sold it.
Yeah.
Like, I sold mine.
And as far as like the life skill, like the mastery method, it's crazy because like most of the people I've talked to that have gotten it don't even have any mastery whatsoever. They're just using lucky tools or magic tools or whatever. So
oh yeah,
I don't really know.
Life skill mastery has no impact on the pot piece, from what I heard.
See, I've heard the opposite. I heard it does, but how long does it take them? Everyone who has it's only taking them a short time, dude. So I don't even know. I'm not sure. Everyone seems to get it relatively quickly. I don't know what the average is. There's a spreadsheet. Did Rezlar die? No, he's playing Genshin Impact. He's re-rolling characters right now. He's trying to get the perfect champ.
Actually, I'm playing League and watching a football game, but I am listening to the conversation. I just don't have really much to add because I'm not really going for Caphras right now, so I don't know the struggles.
True.
Yeah, he's saving up for a pen distortion. Yeah.
Actually, now that I think about it, I do want to buy a pen Nova, I think. So yeah, I got some other gains I can focus on while the Caphras are slowly building up, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not too bad. Like, it could be worse. I could be in a far worse position where I have nothing else to like work on but Caphras. But I have plenty to work on, so that's good.
So Lorenzo's saying if you look at the spreadsheet, those with high mastery got it sooner and by a lot. I do wonder though if like the people with high mastery in general are just smarter and work harder. You know what I mean? On average.
Well, they're used to the grind.
Yeah.
They can handle the gather.
And they probably gather often. And they probably get to stay out there longer because they don't have to buy tools. They don't have to you get to repair their tool every time. Their gathering speed is quick. They use less energy over time, so they get to stay out for longer. I mean, I don't know. How is it calculated by how much total energy they've used, or hours, or what? I feel like there's a lot of factors that goes into that. You know. Who knows? I don't know. I mean, all I know is I did the mastery thing for weeks and I didn't get anything. You know. And I got nothing. I had disappointment, sadness. I died. I was losing crystals on a regular basis. That wasn't good. I have a panther would come up and stab me right in the back. I'd lose my crystals.
Some people are saying you can proc multiple pot pieces if you have high mastery plus hedgehog.
Yeah, probably.
I've heard and seen screenshots of people getting two.
Yeah.
But
you need like 1100. Well, I don't have 1100. All right. I'm not gonna get 1100. I don't have that kind of money. I'm not super rich like you, Lorenz.
I had like 1000 gathering.
I had 900. It wasn't good enough. I guess 1100 is the sweet spot for the mana pot piece. Whoops, that's my bad.
Really?
Or just be did Blonde get it in 5 minutes?
Wasn't it
every time someone gets two, the second one was meant for Frosty, and I have to wait longer.
Oh man, that's toxic.
What were you gonna ask?
Isn't 1250 like kind of like that sweet spot? At least for like you get like the 16 stack quantity. I think it was 1250.
I have no idea. Here's what I do know. That I'm never gonna get the pop.
That you haven't gotten it yet?
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's just something I gotta live with. It's the burden. It's the cross I bear, you know?
Well, it's just like how none of us have gotten the Vel's heart yet, so one day, Frosty.
Yeah, Vel. It's not for a while. Anyway, dude, I'm actually. Who are you gonna be able to grind the Toro spot? Do you have enough gear to grind there?
That's a good question. What is the requirements?
What's your DP?
338.
You're gonna get farmed, dude. Dude, I'm pretty sure they hit pretty hard. I don't know. Maybe that is enough DP, but I'm
so
pretty
optimistic
sure they
for me.
You're gonna just get farmed. You're gonna go there like all excited, and you're just gonna have no crystals when you leave.
It's gonna be like that that meme picture where he has the excited face, and then he finds out that it's not what he was hoping for.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
he's just like, oh god.
Boindle's saying he heard you could get 2-shot if you're 350 DP.
Yep. I get 2-shot by Suckwiz all the time.
Ah, man. Dude, that was another topic you missed, is the Suck Wiz topic with the Anfield last week. That was fun.
Oh, what did he say? I
Well-
actually didn't get a chance to listen to it, which is fucking awful. I should have listened.
I had brought up the fact that if you look at the Succession launches, every time a Succession character came out, most of them came out kind of too strong. Like half of them came out too strong, right? And when they came out, it was relatively quick between the time it was like, dude, this class is very strong, like Ninja or Suck Lon. Even Suck Musa, like, got nerfs like really, really fast on the things that were a major problem. And Suck Wizard has not been touched.
Yeah.
And it's the most complained about class in the game, arguably in history, but I mean, Mystic and DK in their primes, you can make a case. But like, at least in the last year, the amount of complaining people have towards Suck Wizard and how it's impacting the game and stuff. And I was just pointing out how it is interesting to me that, like, oh shit, Ninja does way too much damage. Like, we're gonna nerf the PvP damage by this percent, remove some accuracy, change their movement.
Like, it was oppressive for a little bit, but then they did nerf it. It
And then
took
they
like
nerfed it.
what, a month or two?
Yep.
But Suck Wiz has been a thing now for
Since
like what?
Inception.
Since
And yeah,
Inception.
I mean, there were a lot of classes. I had examples of like Lon, same thing. Lon, it came out, it seemed weak, they buffed it, and then it was overtuned, and it got nerfed like really quickly. It lasted like
that
3-4
one got
weeks.
nerfed hella fast.
Kuno, when it came out, the Tendon Cutter, you could instant cast it when it first came out. Flash slash damage got nerfed twice. The PvP damage on Shadow Clones, which is a skill not a single person complained about, got nerfed. There's a list, dude. The list, Suck Ranger. They removed down attack from Blasting Gust and, what did they remove? The crit? Or they just lowered the damage? Like, I don't know. Just a lot of changes that they made, like, really quickly, and it was just crazy to me. Oh yeah, Scars of Dust, the Warrior PvE got nerfed, like, multiple times, and Succession Warrior. But, yeah, nothing on Wizard. Wizard's just, flown under the radar.
And Doom Horses,
They're
too.
gathering data.
Yeah, they're gathering data. So I want to...
Doom Horses need to be nerfed still.
Yeah, they do. Wait, hold on.
Or they need to give Successions a way to dismount them properly, because Awakening has the 10% BSR, 25%, or 50% that they can use. They have a lot of different tools that they can use to potentially dismount.
I'm going to
Suck
read
doesn't really
something
have
to you
anything.
guys on the show, but let me grab some water real quick. 1 sec.
All right. Yeah, I don't know. I'm surprised they haven't come up with a method for not really necessarily BSR skills that will like increase the damage or add protections or anything, but just something to help dismount these fucking players that sit on their Doom Horses and whatnot. They're just so tanky and whatnot, and they just have a pretty superior advantage, especially if they're a class that's literally pretty oppressive when they have a lot of extra mobility and HP and DP to work with. Like Suck Wiz, Suck Rangers, Cancer.
I mean, you can BSR them off.
Yeah, but 100% BSR and most Successions are pretty awful, to be honest. Like, mine is useless.
Why doesn't Succession have a 10, 25, and 50% BSR?
I don't know.
They forgot.
Need it, though.
They just forgot. Okay, so
Honestly, I think they should change the... maybe the Rebam should have that feature and just, like, remove it from the BSRs themselves, you know?
Ooh,
Yeah.
that would be cool.
Because I think that would be a lot fairer, and then you don't really change anything, and it's across the board for all classes.
So I put up a couple of these meme videos. I did one for Guardian and one for Suck Wizard, just like jokingly. So on my stream for a while, I actually have to remove this because it's people take advantage. But I had a channel point option where you could pay the channel points, and regardless of how I feel about a class, I would have to, for a couple minutes, argue why that class should be buffed. And
oh man,
yeah, it's just fun, but it's hard, but it's fun. And one of the things I did Guardian and I did Wizard, and I put the videos up on YouTube, and I got a couple of interesting comments, and I wanna talk about them and
you start a riot.
this state of mind. Well, I'm pretty clear in the description that it's like sarcastic and that I don't actually want these buffs, but you would think I'd be getting a bunch of comments that would be like, why would you buff these classes? They're busted. But
And then you actually got people agreeing.
Oh my god. All right, so let me just read these two comments for you. This is on Succession Wizard, after I do like a 3 to 5 minute rant on why it should be buffed sarcastically. Someone says, Wizard and Witch, I suppose this is talking about both, always strike me as quite outdated classes. Our mobility is not up to par with the current game, and even with chain cast, some abilities are incredibly slow. Every decent player would know how to easily get behind us during them to CC us. In my opinion, the magic evasion blink needs its cooldown reduced to 2 seconds or so to give us decent enough evasion to defend ourselves. And then that one's like, it's mild and tame, and you can't really tell if they're talking specifically about Succession or Awakening, because you could make those arguments.
No, he said
certainly.
chain casting.
He said chain cast,
He means
which,
Succession.
but no one calls it chain casting either. You can make the argument for Awakening, but then someone follows
Awakening,
up.
yeah, but Succession? Fuck no, absolutely fuck no. To even sit there and suggest that you can't be CC'd, or you can be CC'd in between casts, like it feels fucking impossible to see them right now.
So someone follows up with, absolutely right. I hate how people just constantly complain that Suck Witch Wiz is OP, especially when Suck Wiz literally lost grab when going into Suck from Awake. When compared to Sork, we literally have 2 iframes compared to their infinite iframe span, yet I hear nothing about Sorks being busted. Let's not forget Guardian has more iframes at lower cooldown as well. Every single Witch Wiz still keeps them stationary, skill keeps them stationary, prob to getting CC'd from back when using frontal guard or grabbed, while hash moves all over the place, same with Ninja and Kuno with their stomp. I agree that the lower magic evasion blink needs its cooldown reduced, and maybe even iframe, otherwise the class is quite unplayable outside of Node War. Even there, flex classes consistently outperform Witch Wiz, which is crazy to me, as I thought we were supposed to be the most OP class. I really don't get it.
Clearly. Clearly they don't get it.
So
that's the most ridiculous shit. I mean, like the Sork comment, people are complaining about Sork still to this day and have been. It's just the problem is there's more pressing matters. There's bigger fish to fry, sadly, and that's horrible to say, but there is, and that bigger fish is Sugwiz being one of them.
The biggest.
The iframes on Sork is pretty awful still too, and then on top of that, they decided that it was a fucking genius idea to buff Grim Reaper to where its full charge is like almost instantaneous. Like, no fucking way that they thought that was a good idea. Someone probably snuck that into the goddamn code and didn't actually get proper approvals. So that's the only thing that makes sense to me. That's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen. Like, the whole point of Grim Reapers being vulnerable is so that you would use a BSR to make it strong and not vulnerable, giving it super armor during the attack. But
I like that Nayashe is his expert opinion on the matter is that someone probably snuck it into the code without proper approval.
Yeah, it's the only thing that makes sense. Shit makes it through all the time that, you know, they didn't really plan for.
I mean,
we already know that they don't test properly.
I feel like there's a lot of those like charge skills though where you don't have to charge it all the way, right? Like I know Berserkers is like that. You don't have to charge Ancient Wave all the way. You don't have to charge Reckless Blow all the way. So why is Grim Reaper different?
No.
Well, no.
It's different
the difference,
because they are fully charging.
Yeah, it's fully. They sped up how fast it is to fully charge it now, and it's like instant cast.
there's no reason for a charge animation bar.
It's kind
Like,
of like,
it doesn't exist.
Warrior's Reckless Blow, how it's fully charged when you're E-buffed,
Yeah.
even without charging. That's Grim Reaper Judgment all the time now.
Oh, so it does like
It's-
full charge damage.
I don't.
It's not like
Nyashi's,
It's like
damage or
it's
something.
0.5 seconds, and they can launch the bitch at full
Nyashi's the
charge.
first person I've heard complain about it, to be honest, though. In fairness. I don't know that that's
I
actually
guarantee
that
you,
bad.
I guarantee you, more people would actually start coming out about it.
Well, they probably will when the
The
bond
problem
skills
is,
come
the
out.
problem is, there's bigger fish to fry. It's Suck Whiz.
Well, I'm sure more people will complain about it when bond skills come out and it's fully protected.
Oh, well, that too.
But
It's
as
hard
of,
as fuck to punish. Like with the
Yeah.
speed up, it's hard as fuck to punish.
it's hard. Yeah, it's certainly harder. But they still have the same, like, they have to use Soul Harvest and Can't Side at the end. So there's like a brief moment where they could be caught, especially if you have a protected CC, which everyone will have in the future to deal with it if they don't pick that
they're
one for their
awakening.
bond.
Um,
I mean, are we saying that these Succession kids don't have protected CCs?
oh, they do, but it's like
I mean, one of them's on a 3
the
second
awakening kids are
cooldown.
going to become much more protected these days with the bond skills, right?
Yeah, but rightfully so,
wait,
because Suck
what-
is just more powerful, right? I don't know.
Yeah, arguably in a lot of cases, unless you're warrior.
That's your warrior. Poor Succession warrior. I always said from the very beginning, you can quote me on it. We had, was it Sphero on before Succession came
Yeah,
out?
probably.
I said right off the bat, like, dude, I'm excited about Successions, but the warrior one looks so boring to me
Look
from the
forward to a lot of
get-go. It always looked kind of lame.
The other part about that whole Wiz comment thing is that's so out of base. Those are players that literally they just have thumbs. They don't have any actual fingers.
Yeah.
Like,
Now, do they have just one thumb on each hand and no fingers, or do they have five thumbs on each hand?
They just have thumbs, just 2 thumbs. That's it.
You sure you
That
don't
is
mean that
it.
they have 5 thumbs on
No,
each hand?
they just literally have 2 thumbs. That's why they're like, maybe if I just had a little bit lower cooldown magical evasion, I would be fine. Like, okay.
All right. Do you think it would be fair for Mewa
Like
and
the
Musa
thumbs guy from Spy Kids. I don't know the reference.
would it be fair to put the chase iframe cooldown separate from the skill chase, so you can use it just as an independent iframe freely on a 5-second cooldown, or a 3-second, or whatever it is currently? 3 seconds?
What do you mean? How would
Well,
that work?
I mean, they
So
just
we were talking about it last podcast. Frosty came up with the idea of having a separate chase that you can activate independently of normal chase, and that chase is an iframe that
Yeah.
actually works. So instead of it just being like every whatever it is 5 seconds your chase is an iframe, you get a separate chase that you can use whenever you want that is an iframe.
Yeah, so your normal chase is always super armor and works exactly as it currently does, but if you use the iframe version, whether it's hotbar or keybind, whatever, that version, so you can use that reactively when you need the iframe specifically, instead of
Kind of like doing the BSR keys, but
Yeah.
sure,
Base.
but almost more like how Sleet Step used to function back in the day. Like, it was just separate.
I mean,
from
it's
chase,
it's not a bad idea. Like, I think that would be a pretty viable solution.
Because that would give you guys an on-command, like, quick iframe, right?
Yeah.
Which would
Yeah.
be
Instead of
probably
like,
pretty
'cause you
nice.
have,
And
you have
it
to
would
use
prevent
chase.
from other skills being buffed to gain iframe. So yeah, I could see that. But it's like that would fundamentally change like how that skill works. I guess I'd have to see how it was implemented.
I mean, it could literally just be like, you have to hotbar. Here's a quick. You can now quick slot chase whatever. We'll call it chase ghost.
Well,
and chase ghost,
there's
the quick slotted version. When you press it, it uses chase, but it's an iframe, completely independent of your normal chase R&B button.
there's just a few things to keep note of about that. Like, yeah, like, and that sounds good on paper and whatnot. Just
See,
really
here it
depends
is.
on how it's implemented because,
There it is.
like, for example, hotbar skills, they don't activate as quickly as input skills, correct?
That's not always true. No.
That's pretty much always true from my experience.
That's maybe you're with your class, but that is not always true. Hotbar skills are like instant on other classes.
Well,
Default users pointing on Dark Knight, hotbar skills are actually faster in some cases than using the keybinds.
then you guys got better class designers than we did.
With
So our
Dragon,
hotbar skills
with
as
Dragon
well.
saying on Musa, it's the exact same speed whether it's hotbar or keybind. Most skills.
Hotbar skills cost more MP than keyboards. Yeah, sometimes there's some weird.
Is that still a
cost
thing?
Differences.
You used to say that
I
in the
think
skill tree. I don't know. If...
Yeah, I think it's still a thing. It rewarded you for doing key inputs rather than hotbars. It's weird. I mean, like, I like the idea. It's an interesting and creative way to go about the problem, and I would be on board with it if the hotbar version or the key input version of the iframe chase was not going to like require. Sometimes like certain skills they don't activate smoothly in some situations. I would be afraid that them messing with that, it wouldn't activate properly in some situations.
Could it possibly be worse than the way it works now? Because I hear you guys complain that the iframe basically doesn't exist now. So it can't be
I feel like
worse.
every time they touch chase, it gets worse. But yeah, it's possible it could be better. It's possible it could be worse. It really depends on how they implement it.
See,
I like the idea. I'll admit I like the idea. It's a creative solution to the problem. And
All right.
I would be willing to test it on Global Labs. But the problem is Global Labs is horrible to test with.
So separately, that was a social experiment, by the way, Rezdar.
Yeah.
So you can see how Mewas and Musas they're a thankless class. They just
wait, how was that thankless?
ungrateful. Listen,
how is that thankless? I said that was a unique and creative solution. I would be willing to try it.
Buff number 2. You ready? They actually do give an unprotected melee grab to Musa, but not Mewa. Your thoughts?
What the fuck would they do that?
Because Mewa has.
I mean, they
Bloom.
did do it in Shadow Arena. They gave Musa a grab.
I mean, you have Petal Bloom and Petal Drill. Those 2 skills are OP.
Yeah, and Awakening.
Uh-huh. You have Red Moon.
Okay.
What would you rather?
You're just naming skills. Like I don't understand.
you have
Like they have skills too.
You have
Frosty.
stigma.
Oh my god.
all right. What about this? What would you rather?
for real
Let's do
argument?
a would you rather. Would you rather them give Musa a grab but not Mewa, or would you rather them give Musa Red Moon and Mewa gets nothing? Well, if you had to pick one.
How is like both these situations Mewa gets nothing out of this deal, but Musa gets something? I don't understand.
All right. Mewa. All right. Musa gets Red Moon. All right. Here's these 2 options. So that way you get something. Either A, Musa gets a grab and Mewa gets nothing, or B, Musa gets Red Moon, but Mewa loses some of its max stamina.
Fuck. What kind of social experiment are you doing? Is this like trying to see how long before I get triggered as fuck?
Before he's actually mad.
What if
How long before he's actually tilted?
What if Musa got accuracy and Mewa got a buff to New Year's Eve? Would that be fair?
Yeah, no. How about Musa gets an accuracy buff and they make the sticky snowflake cooldown 45 seconds instead of 30?
Oh my god. Sticky's 15.
Basically 30 though. Doesn't it feel like 30 at times?
It definitely feels like 30. I'll agree.
Oh man, sorry. I went off on a. We had in the show notes earlier that we should have a conversation about reducing Mewa's stamina, and you weren't having it. So I wanted to squeeze it in there somewhere.
You come up with this. This is worse. There's like nothing better about that.
If you don't hate Moosas now, you will in the next patch when they have a grab and Red Moon, and you get
Oh
nothing.
my god.
Oh,
Devs, if you're listening, don't fucking listen to this guy.
all right. If they get Red Moon, you can have one extra PvE hit on New Year's Eve. Are you cool with that?
My gosh.
Hell yeah.
Well, we would be top tier, grind. There would be no doubt about that.
Dude, do you remember the time, Rezlar, when Nayashe said that the New Year's Eve buff is nothing and they don't use that ability? And now they literally just outfarm everybody with it? It's crazy.
Well, it's because during that time period, I was keeping it down the low, because I didn't know if... Because I already seen content from KR that they were abusing the New Year's Eve spam in order to get better trash loot per hour, but I didn't think that was going to stick. I thought they were going to patch that, but they didn't. So I was like, well, okay, I guess we'll go ahead and just make it public knowledge then.
Nash, I want to offer you a button. Okay.
Is this
There's a
the no Mewa nerf talk button?
No. So this button, if you press this button, Awakened Warrior will get nerfed. Okay.
God,
It'll get nerfed.
Where can I
It'll
press
get-
it?
It'll get nerfed into the ground. But also, if you press this button, the stamina consumption on Chase gets doubled.
What?
You pressing that button?
What does nerfed into the ground mean? You already gave me.
It's basically unplayable. Like that's how like slashing tickles buttholes. Reckless blow, like it doesn't even it just misses because the accuracy is like
instead
negative
of ignore
100%
30%
modifier.
grab resistance, it's like it adds resistance to your opponent.
Yeah, exactly. Like even
I'll press it.
Sphero, even Sphero can't make montages anymore. Like that's how bad it is.
Oh man, I'll press it once.
Every time you press it, they get worse and you lose more stamina.
I'll press it once.
Oh,
That's
my
it,
God.
just once.
Dude, I wish I could see. I wish there was like an April Fool's patch but not on April Fool's, so Mewas don't know it. But that just literally says they increase the stamina consumption cost.
How funny would it be if like on April Fools they change all the classes and make all the skills another class? Like your class is now what like say my class turns into like what a Kuno is, but your class turns into like a warrior.
I think what they need to do is
That would be
for
hilarious. People would be like confused as fuck.
just for like one day, like on April Fool's itself, they change all of the 100% BSRs to the most useless skill in every class's entire kit, and just see what happens.
It could work. I like the idea of you know how the suggestion's been out there that they remove PA from Wizwitch and give it to Shy. Imagine in that same patch, like underneath Shy, it's like bullet point. Protected area has been removed from Wizard and Witch and added to the Shy's kit. The cooldown is also been increased to 10 minutes, right? And the whole server is super happy. And then the next bullet point, also, Chase has been removed from Musa Mewa and added to Shy, and in its place, Musa Mewa got head chase.
You might as well just delete our class.
Dude, you guys would be so sick with head chase.
No,
And it has the same little
it'd be
pause
useless.
between each dash too, just like head chase. Like it's not like chase where it's just fluid. It just has that
Yeah, but
weird
you're
little
forgetting
stop.
how many other mobility skills that fucking class has. Like Warrior has a lot of other mobility in their kit.
I mean, you kind of move around with Stigma. A little movement in there.
Oh my god.
Alright, I got good news. The Saints finally won a fucking game. Jesus Christ.
Thanks. Did they?
They did. They beat the Lions. Thank fuck.
Hell yeah.
Almost threw it. Almost got close to throwing it towards the fucking end, but
All right. Let's move on from Musa Mewa. We don't really have much else. Is there anything you guys wanted to talk about?
there's gonna be no timestamps on this video, by the way, because we are just fucking meandering all over the goddamn place.
Res, how long do you
It's
think
alright.
the Genshin
It's
Impact?
an Odyllita celebration podcast.
How long do you think
Yeah,
the Genshin Impact hype is gonna last? Like legitimately. Like, do you think this is a game that's gonna be like
2 weeks.
2-3 years?
No, like I said, I think this is a game where most of the enjoyment you're gonna get out of it is through like the story and like all the questing and stuff like that, right? I have a feeling it's gonna hold. I think it's gonna hold my attention for maybe like 2 months, a month, 2 months, maybe 3, like max. And then, like I said earlier, I think it's gonna be a game where every time there's an expansion, I'm gonna come back and then check out the new zone, look at the new characters, maybe play a little bit again for like 2 weeks, a month, maybe something like that, and then I'll go back to not playing it. I think it's one of those games. I don't think it's like a main game. Like me and my cousin were talking the other day about how hard it is to like have a game be a main game. Like it's really hard
You know
to
how
offer something.
In Anthem or Division, how the open world, even though it's like open world and they make you feel like you're playing with other players, but you're really just in a private lobby with anywhere from 2 to 4 people. That's the one thing I kind of wish that game had. Like I wish like just right at level 1, me and my friend were both in the same world.
Yeah, the co-op thing, me and Mina were talking about this the other day. It feels like the co-op was like the last thing they did. It's like they made Genshin Impact, and then like a couple months before it was supposed to release, they were like, what would be cool? Co-op. And so they like rushed it together without really thinking about it. And then we're just like, there you go. There's co-op. And it's like, yeah, but like it's really weird. Like there's certain things you can do and certain things you can't do, and the distinction between what you can and can't do doesn't really make a lot of sense. And you can't do missions whenever you're in co-op, which is like really strange, because that's like, at least again to me and to most of the people that I've talked to about the game, the main draw of the game is the story and the missions. And the fact that you can't do that with your friends is like really strange. It's like basically the only thing you can do with your friends is like the grinding part of it, right? Where you're running like dungeons for ascension materials, or you're killing bosses, or things like that in the open world. It's kind of weird how the distinction is, and also the fact that you have to hit AR-20 or 16 rather. AR-16 is like really strange because again, it's like why these like strange restrictions that just don't really make a lot of sense to me. And it almost feels like these restrictions are in place because they didn't have the time, or maybe didn't care to like make the co-op work with what happens before that game and what happens with things that like the story missions. Like they're like, how do we make co-op work with the story missions? It's like, we don't have time to figure that out. The game's coming out in 2 months. Just make it where you can't do story missions. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Weird. It's an unpolished game that was released.
The co-op feels unpolished. The rest of the game feels very polished.
It has elements that are unpolished, at least to me. But it's like, I think it's a decent game. 2 months, I'm surprised. Like that's longer than like the Arcade hype. And like I know Arcade fizzled out, and in retrospect it was really bad. But those first couple weeks, everyone really loved it. But it didn't quite last 2 months. Maybe for some people, but most people fell off after about a month.
Well, also another reason I say 2 months is because supposedly the 1.1 patch, people are theorizing, is going to hit rather quickly. Mm-hmm. And with the 1.1 patch, there's supposed to be a whole nother region. So that means you're going to have more missions, more characters, all that kind of stuff. And people are theorizing, excuse me, that's going to come in like a month. So...
Okay. When
at least from what I've been reading anyway.
Division had this system where, because Division is only a 4-player co-op game, right? But it feels like an open world because of the way players can come in and out to public lobbies, and the way that like when you go into a mission, even though you're instanced in, it doesn't feel like it. Have you ever played Division or not really?
I have not.
Okay, so Division, I don't know, it's like it's kind of hard to explain the world, but it's like it literally has load screens all over the place that you never actually see, because they're
integrated.
Super seamless. You feel like you're just walking into, you have this massive open world and you're walking into a mall, but like you're just like being debriefed for 10 seconds on your mission. But it's like, actually, that's the load screen and you've been instanced out of the world you were in. But it doesn't feel like it at all. It's really cool. I thought that's kind of
a clever way to go about it.
That's how I thought Genshin was going to be, because everyone's like, well, it's not an MMO, it's a co-op game. I was like, yeah, but if I'm playing with 4 people, like, that's fine. If I'm, like, running around this world with 4 people, that sounds fun as hell. So then when I played and I realized it wasn't quite that, I was kind of sad.
Yeah, it's... I would not describe it as a co-op game, honestly. I wouldn't. With the state of the co-op that it has right now. Now, apparently they are working on more group content. Specifically, they said they're working on 8-player content. So, like, that's cool if they manage to make it, like, fun and interesting, which most of their, like, dungeons have been pretty fun so far. But yeah, I would not describe it as a co-op game. I really would describe it as a solo, like Breath of the Wild. Like, literally a solo, like, adventure type game.
I know I'm alone in this, but it would also be way more fun if you could fly, just straight up fly instead of glide.
I wish there was, like, something you could do. I don't know. Like, maybe you can upgrade your glider. Like, something to reach for, maybe, right?
Yeah.
You can, like, upgrade your glider, and then at some point you're able to, like, boost yourself up or something. And then, like, once you get, like, really OP gliders, you just straight up fly. Like, that would be cool.
Yeah, even if it was, like, you only fly for a short time to go up and then you glide down. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, like a boost
Yeah.
or something. I don't know. But the most important thing to note about Genshin Impact, if you haven't heard about it, is a gacha game. So
So
keep that in
what
mind.
does that mean for us people that don't play mobile games that much?
So gacha games usually refer to games typically on your phone, and this can be played on your phone, but I would much rather play it on the PC just because it has actual, like, action combat. But the gacha version, like the gacha word, and, like, when you're referring to a gacha game, usually refers to you are, like, everything in the game is obtained by a loot box, basically. Like, that's usually what it means to have, like, a gacha game. Is that
just gross?
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, it's not good, and it's usually very expensive. People spend a lot of money on gacha games. And that's why gacha games are usually, like, pretty looked down on. These are games like Fate Grand Order, Epic 7, Raid Shadow Legends. These are all gacha games. So yeah, you basically roll for a character. You spin this wheel, or you open this loot box, or you do whatever, and
Well,
you
there
get
goes
these
our Raid
items.
Shadow Legends.
Sponsor, yeah.
Yeah, first of all, Raid Shadow Legends is a high quality MMO that I main, by the way, and I will continue to main if I can get a sponsorship. Otherwise, I'm going to Genshin. Genshin.
I call it Genshin. I don't know. Maybe it's Jensen. I don't know. Whatever. I call it Genshin. But yeah, but Adri, this has been her first gacha game, and she's already like, it makes me feel like I want to spend more money. I'm like, yeah, that's the whole point of gacha games, is that they make you want to, like, buy in more to get the stuff that you want, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, but the important thing about Genshin, at least to me, is that it's an actual game. So the issue I've always had with games like Raid Shadow Legends and fucking Fate Go, I spent a lot of
the whole time.
I spent a lot of time and a lot of money on Fate Go, like, years ago. And my issue with those games is that they're phone games. And not saying that Genshin isn't a phone game, but it actually has gameplay. It's actually fun. It's actually enjoyable. There's things to actually do. You're not just watching JPEGs on a screen, like, move around. And that was kind of my biggest issue with all of these gacha games, is that you're literally just watching these JPEGs just, like, move around. And it's really boring. And I know technically you're still doing that on any video game, but shut the fuck up. Whereas in Genshin, there's actually, like, things to do. There's different games to play. There's different modes to, like, enjoy. I don't know. It feels like an actual game where the cash shop is just gacha, which is fucking terrible. But I mean, we all play BDO, right? So I mean, I know I've spent more on BDO than I'll ever spend on gacha games.
I wish I could roll for Kuno in the Pearl Shop. Dude,
Yeah,
I think that Genshin has a good element of exploration. That's the one thing I like about it. At least it feels like in the beginning. I don't know what I collected all the apples for, but there were apples in trees that I climbed up to grab, and now I have apples.
You cook food. You cook food with them, man.
Another game, not to get too off a BDO topic, but I kind of missed this announcement because it's been so long and I stopped waiting for the game, but I guess Amazon Studios is going to publish Lost Ark in the West, which is kind of interesting to me because the Lost Ark I always thought looked kind of cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did you guys
I feel like the hype for Lost Ark has like really.
The hype is gone
died.
for sure. It's completely gone away. But
I remember when Lost Ark first dropped in KR or wherever it originally dropped, people were like, "Oh, this is it! Like this is the next thing," and now it's like,
Yeah, but it still looks fun. I think like the combat and everything looks really fun on it, and it has cool PvP. So we'll see. But I think that game will be kind of fun. I just don't know. Again, it's like, all right, they have the publisher now. The game's already 4 years old, but when is it actually going to come out? You know.
Also, Amazon Game Studios.
Yeah.
They have another MMO that they're working on.
Well, it got delayed for Lost Ark, dude.
Mm.
They're like Pearl Abyss,
Did it
and
get
that
delayed
they
again?
No. I don't know. I don't even know when their launch is, but
last I saw, it was like early next year. Is the last thing I saw. Maybe that's wrong. That's the last thing I saw.
I think that's still the plan. I don't know, but it would be funny if Amazon's like, "Well, we were gonna release it, but Lost Ark's coming out that day," and it's like, "Well, but you guys are releasing it that day." Like, why? That's you guys, damn it.
I don't know if I ever talked about New World, but if you like life skills, New World is actually really fun. It has a really cool life skilling system, actually, which I know is something you probably never thought you'd hear me say, but I played it whenever it had like the beta or whatever, or preview is what they called it, a couple months back. I played it with my friend, and we put a lot of hours into it. It was a good time.
No,
definitely not. If you want PvP, definitely not the game.
Really? Some people said it was actually pretty fun. Is it not good?
No.
I heard it's pretty awful.
They got some balancing to do before they do any PvP in that fucking game, bro. First of all, okay, issue number 1, literally everything makes you stagger, which is the most unfun thing in existence. Literally, like everything makes you stagger. And so what you basically have is, oh, well, if I can just attack faster than the other guy, I can perma-stagger them until they die. And so you just have everyone running around with a goddamn axe and just left, right. And you just can't do anything about it. It's so miserable. So, yeah, they definitely got some balancing to do in the PvP if they really want to, if they really want that to be a thing. But honestly, I don't even think, like, PvP is not the main draw in that game. Like, the siege seems cool. There's a lot of different, like, siege weapons and stuff that you can do. But to me, the main reason you'd be playing that game is for, like, the life skilling stuff. And I don't know. That stuff is really well done, in my opinion. It's really fun. It's similar to, I don't know if anyone's ever played this, Albion. It's kind of similar to Albion. I played Albion for a little while.
Albion's crafting system, or not crafting, but the gathering and whatnot was actually pretty nice.
Yeah, it's very, very similar to Albion, in all honesty. It's very similar. So if you liked Albion's like life skilling system and crafting system and all that stuff, it's quite similar to that. So
that was so garbage though. Every time I got into a fight, I'd lose all my gear.
Yeah, that's kind of, I don't know. Albion had a lot of pros and a lot of cons whenever I played it. That's kind of why I stopped playing. I was like, eh. Also, something about top-down games. It's also my issue with Lost Ark. There's something about the top-down perspective that I just don't like. Not a fan.
The problem I had with Albion was just like the mass mob type mentality. You just get mobbed all the time. Get run through by like fucking 30 people going through a region.
Yeah. It also felt, I don't know.
Yeah.
The PvP was not very fun in that game. To me, anyway. But again, that's maybe just because of top-down. But, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see about Lost Ark. Maybe Lost Ark will be fun.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm 70% in towards 63.
Oh shit, dude.
Dude, we're about 30 hours away.
It's not bad, dude. Did you want to talk about Evasion DR? I have a way to present this to you. All right, with the Tauros belt on its way, with the creepy ring on the back on its way,
The creepy ring.
with 2 accuracy accessories on the way that are going to be relatively accessible. The belt will probably be kind of hard to get because of the area it's in and the demand, but the ring
And then
should be relatively attainable.
To also add on to that, all the changes they've done with the classes that had a lot of evasion built
Yeah.
into their passives and stats and stuff
With
like that.
Smokescreen got nerfed, the evasion passives on Striker Missa got nerfed. They added distortion earrings, which just have more accuracy in general. They added Elcar crystals. They added new crystals that you're going to be able to put into your dandy with the Odyllita if you want, if you so choose, if accuracy is your thing. With the plethora of accuracy options and the couple of nerfs here and there to evasion, my question to you is 2 things, Nashi. 1, do you still feel that evasion is overpowered? And 2, are you yourself building towards evasion? Or considering something else?
So at this point in time, in the current state of things, I am still building towards evasion. I still think it's really strong. They implemented those DP brackets, which do affect both DR and evasion. The damage reduction brackets. And I still think evasion is really strong. But the Odyllita introducing a lot more accuracy will play a part in how the meta acts and reacts to the change and the accessibility of more accuracy. It's hard to say how it's going to impact things. A lot of players are basically talking about getting one accessory item to replace one of their AP items, like Toro belt replacing a Bassi belt, for example, and it being a 2 AP loss, and you gain like 20 something accuracy,
20 sheet accuracy,
yeah. So that's a huge positive trade for accuracy, with a minimal loss in AP, in comparison to like the Disto Dawn argument.
right. Disto Dawn's hard.
The Disto also affects your DP, but you can always add more Cavers in, mind you, with the marketplace being dog shit, but we'll assume you can freely get Cavers. So with all that being said, I think there's potential for the meta to shift, but I don't think every class is going to be shifting off of evasion to DR. I think the pretty standard staple classes that would go DR would just maintain that direction. Like Warrior would probably, like the high-end Warriors might consider going back to DR. If, like, for example, I think like Zethian may be like one prime example of a Warrior with high-end gear that went evasion, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I could see him maybe considering going back to DR, depending on how many players are starting to get more accuracy. Because you might notice that his evasion might not necessarily be as effective anymore. But I think the typical classes that would benefit from evasion will still go evasion. Just my hunch. Like Kuno Ninja might still consider going evasion. Suck Wiz would probably still go evasion, or as an alternative, they could go DR as well. So I don't think it really matters for them one way or the other. The only reason why people were going evasion before is because it was just like outright OP. But it's not necessarily the case anymore.
Yeah.
Based on the introduction of all these new things.
Like, so
changes.
One of the things that I've been thinking a lot about and like going back and forth in my head is like, so with where my gear is, and where anyone is that's like below me. I guess if you're already 309 AP Kudum, this isn't really much of a decision for you. But if you're lower than that,
say like my AP, 277
yeah,
Kudo.
if you're anywhere from Nash's AP all the way up to my AP, there is an element of if I run Nuver, I'll have more AP, and I can get an accuracy accessory while still being a really, really high AP bracket. And if I run Nuver, losing that evasion from Kudum makes the evasion build significantly less effective, especially considering that everyone's about to get accuracy. So would I be better off just running Begs and getting that extra accuracy, a full DR setup, and still being like, if you're full DR with like full C9 and Dead Gods and whatever, like when all that shit comes, like there's still going to be an element of tankiness. Like you're not necessarily going to die standing up, but now
you're not necessarily going to be able to just tank a combo with Nover, but
you'll have so much extra damage output. The question is it worth staying DR? Because here's my thing: is like I switched. Well, I guess I say staying DR is like because everyone kind of starts out DR with their Tet armors. Because here's the thing:
okay.
a while back, now probably a year ago, I sold all of my DR stuff, took my Kaffers out, and switched to Evasion, and then took a while to like get all my Kaffers back into my armors. And like I'm Evasion now, so I'm probably gonna stay Evasion. But if I could go back in time, knowing now what, like if I knew back then what I know now, I legit think I would have stayed DR. Like I would have told myself, no, just stay DR because there's about to be a bunch of accuracy accessories. They're gonna nerf Evasion here and there. They're gonna add more accuracy to the game subtly, and over time, you're going to just die. You're going to die just as fast anyway. So building up Evasion for tankiness is kind of a moot point. Plus, because I'm Evasion, now I don't have all the accuracy from Begs. If I get an accuracy accessory, it drops my AP even lower since I use Kudum, like lower than it already is lowered. And I'm just going to be killing people more slowly. Like, it's one of the reasons why I feel like, I don't know, like, Spin Spree hits so hard if you have a Nuver and accuracy accessory. Spin Spree hits like a noodle if you don't. So, I don't know. It's kind of an interesting thing. Also, to add on to the evasion nerfs over time, in the last year, they also added minus 15% evasion to Voltaic Pulse, which is pretty big deal in large scale.
Yeah, large scale.
Because it kind of affects a lot of people.
And they have also added that they added other features like that to other skills too. Like I know Mewa got one where like an awakening sticky snowflake got a very minimal
3%, right?
3% debuff to the opponent's evasion.
Sorka 9% on turn back slash. Yeah, there's been a lot of little things here and there.
Yeah. So I mean, I could see the argument. I mean, it's going to take time for the meta to shift because obviously it's going to be a while before people start pumping out Tets for those accessories. So even if the meta does shift, it'll be a while before it does. And that doesn't necessarily mean everyone's going to do that, you know? I think a lot of players probably will at least get one accessory item. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to have like a tremendously huge impact on their hit rate over, like it's like roughly 5% is what 20 accuracy gives.
Right.
Roughly. So, which is good. It's really good, but it's not going to be like a night and day difference in damage output. I feel, you know. What makes the change is that if you run a standard setup like that and you switch to DR, then you also get the additional 25 accuracy from the Begs, which now it turns into a 10%-ish hit rate increase, roughly. And then from there, if you decide to have, a second or even third accuracy accessory on hand for swapping in versus specifically meme evasion builds, then you pretty much have an easy time killing them with minimal impact to your AP. You could also arguably say you could just buy the pen accuracy offhand, just swap that in to deal with the memers. But for those people that are actually building really high evasion with DR as well, like that really high Kaffir level stuff,
Yeah. Like
you will want to keep on your main AP stuff with minimal accessory changes.
Yeah. There's part of me that wonders, like, with my gear, if I had a Nuver and I swapped to a Tet Tauros belt and Begs,
How
like,
much could you actually like see a difference of?
I would hit 2 more AP brackets and have 45 more accuracy.
Yeah.
Which would be such a significant damage boost.
That would be a massive damage difference for sure. I agree.
Yeah. I don't know. It makes me wonder. I don't know.
But I mean, there's that difference though. It's like when you look at it from targeting one player or just like even just hitting multiple players, yeah, you'll hit harder and whatnot. But the argument is that unless a lot of people are obtaining the accuracy in the same fashion that you are,
I just don't see why they wouldn't be though with the ring. Like, I get with the belt it's gonna be hard, but I don't think the ring's gonna be hard to get.
Probably not. I can find out probably for some of my contacts, but it probably won't be all that difficult to obtain a ring. So you would need to have a lot of people obtaining this kind of gear in order for evasion to become like basically pretty awful choice armor wise to pick, because people would just have too much accuracy and it'd be too hard to build up enough evasion to actually be impactful, and you'd give up way too many offensive stats to do so. Like the whole reason why it was really good before is because you could build up a lot of evasion relatively easily, especially depending on your class with the skill add-ons or passive or specific skill buffs.
I mean, Smokescreen used to give 18% evasion.
Yeah, that's huge. Now it only gives 9, right?
Yeah.
So it's a significant difference.
I do look at like the direction that they're going with the gear too, and I think about, okay, so we have the Dead God armor, and that one's sort of neutral because you need it kind of for both builds.
Yeah.
But the next piece after that is Black Star helmet, and when it's Dead God helmet, like
the Black Star helmet, then Dead God,
yeah, and that's not evasion, and we'll see what they do with the gloves, but I have a feeling it's going to be more leaning towards what Beggs has than what Lieber has. If I had to guess,
I suspect it's probably the case as well.
So you're like naturally going to be able to build into just getting more stats out of DR without sacrificing any of your AP or accuracy if you go with like a full set of Dead God. So maybe that's the transition. Instead of switching back now, just wait until you're full Dead God and switch when that happens.
Well, we don't know the stats for Dead God helmet yet, right?
Not necessarily, no, but
yeah, so there is a likelihood that maybe they want to kind of mirror, like use Dead God to like mirror the two different builds where it's like a combination. And where like maybe like the Dead God armor has both evasion and DR of equivalent values similar to Tree. So the stats are really good on it. Maybe the helmet has something similar. That's like a mirrored version of, Griffin and maybe some extra evasion. Because there really isn't an evasion helmet that's a boss armor. There's just Giath or Griffin helmet, and then there's the greens with Heave. So maybe they do incorporate some extra evasion into this particular helmet. And if they do, then basically the build becomes like, well, you just go full Dead God and it's irrelevant what you build at that point. Yeah. But as far as like what it means for like what accessories you should build, it would kind of suggest to me that based on where the opponent is in their gear, you're basically going to need a combination of accessories, maybe switch in and out depending on if you find that this combo wasn't effective at killing them.
Bell is in 20 minutes, by the way.
Yeah.
Don't forget. Yeah, I
It's hard to say, like, we're trying to predict the future, basically.
well,
on this
I just
kind of
think,
stuff.
I mean, based on what they've done so far, I feel like it seems more likely to me that, because we already know a Pen Black Star helmet is basically a C whatever
C9.
Griffin / Gaiath combo, because it has the HP
Yeah.
as well and the DR. So
Yeah.
I just think Dead God's going to be the same as the armor, where it's just going to give more stats as if you were Caphrising.
Probably. I can see that being the case.
I don't know. So it's interesting to think about, because
We have no evidence to suggest otherwise. But
I know no one believes me when I say it, but like if I'm in a node war, like if you're a Kuno, let's just say Kuno, or Sork is another class that's doing this more and more. If you're a Sork or a Kuno with a 363 DP evasion versus a Sork or a Kuno with 363 DP DR, like, if you get CC'd, you're still dying no matter what.
yeah.
And if you're standing up on both kits, you can take a hit or two, but you can't just sit in a ball with either of the kits anymore. Like, there was a time for sure evasion you could, but now you kind of can't, especially with the prominence of Suck Wizard, because Voltaic Pulse is happening every 6 seconds by like 35
Definitely
wizards
feels-
at a time. But
Definitely feels that way.
so that's why I'm thinking now, like, in retrospect, there's part of me that regrets going evasion, just because I'm like, man, like, I die super fast anyway, but now I just do less damage. And I feel bad about that a little bit, you know? I don't know.
Yeah, and I get that. I get that. I just think, like, you gotta also look at it from another perspective. Like, maybe setting siege aside, because it's a little bit different example. But if you look at large scale, or not large scale, if you look at small scale and 1v1s, like open world, like, there's a likelihood that you're not running into players that have, large amounts of gear to swap in and out for, like, if you're evasion or DR,
Right.
And if you happen to run into players that are less geared than you, which is definitely possible, especially in your position, the evasion is more impactful overall. Like, even from a chip damage standpoint, I feel, because you can evade a lot more. And I think there's also the fact that and someone correct me if I'm wrong, if you evade hits, you don't actually get debuffs to connect. But mind you have to evade, basically, for most skills, all the hits before the debuff doesn't get applied. But there's that potential, like, you can throw on an evasion offhand and all of a sudden you're like, their hit rate on you is like 30%, like, there's definitely a good likelihood that they can't kill you, or they can't debuff you, or they can't do a whole bunch of things. Yeah, sure, your kill potential is probably a lot lower too, but I mean, you have high enough AP where it's probably still possible to kill most decent players, gear scores.
I just don't think, like, if I'm running into someone that has a 30% hit rate against me, even if I'm DR, they're not killing me, because that person has no gear. Like, you don't need
I'm
need
saying
any
if you throw on
accuracy.
an evasion offhand with an evasion build setup, they would have a 30% hit rate.
See, now, like, the evasion offhand thing, like, I don't like the evasion offhand, like, in the game in general. I think it's kind of weird, like the green one. Like, I'm not a big fan of it. I mean, I guess it has a place with, like, shies and those types of builds, but the evasion offhand, coupled with how strong the evasion buffs used to be, was like insane. But now it's just like, I don't know. Are people really using evasion offhands as much? I know they're like running Centaur belt.
I know of some people that do, and I know of some people that actually use the accuracy offhands too.
Yeah, I just think also, like, yeah, while the average person right now doesn't have that much accuracy, it's just, there's not going to be any reason in the future. Like, there's a lot of people that look up, like, hey, or ask questions, what should I get for this, for this, for this? Like, basically everyone, the cookie cutter build should be, you have one accuracy accessory no matter what. Whether it's the belt, the
I
ring.
mean, that I agree. That's probably what the quote unquote meta is going to be for the typical player that's interested in PvP. I still think there'll be a lot of players out there that won't have that though. Like beyond the people that typically do no wars and sieges, I think there'll still be a lot of players that won't have that.
Yeah, but those players are all running into people with tech gear anyway. Like it, right? Like if you have no knowledge of that you should have an accuracy accessory, you're probably not really at a high end spot or participating in PvP at all.
Or you're just at a different place in your progression. Like for me, it'll probably be a while before I consider getting an accuracy accessory. You know,
But
because I
why?
got too much because I have too much else to help build towards, and building AP initially will help me get Ryan faster to get more gains faster, right?
I mean, sure. But if you're like a Sork, like you, I mean, you play suck, so accuracy is just not that important for you. Like, no offense, but like blooming.
Yeah, my kid is definitely. I mean, it has an 8% accuracy
evasion
passive
buster
built into it, and then really high accuracy on a lot of its skills that I use primarily,
Yeah.
anyways.
But like, if
Yeah, so
someone's
yeah,
a Sork or a Kuno or
I'm
a
definitely an
Ninja,
outlier.
and they're leveling up, like that part of their early gear progression is like, yeah, you're gonna have to get an accuracy accessory. Like, but if I'm only like try accessories, I'm not killing someone that's 360 DR either. You know what I mean?
And Noob Slayer says, "Man thinks people at the bottom mid just made money. I gotta spend money on main gear, not accuracy backup."
Not a
Yeah,
backup. This is not a backup. The accuracy is not a backup. It's just replacing your gear. It's replacing your ring.
Yeah, the whole idea is that the quote unquote idea for the meta, the idea, not realization yet, but idea for the meta is that most Node Wars Siege related players it'll almost become like a mandatory thing to consider having replaced your Bassy belt or one of your crescents with a accuracy version, because the gain is too good. You get 20 accuracy and you lose 2 AP. The gain is just too good. That's the idea.
So this guy's saying,
it's not like
this guy's saying he ran into someone or met a dude who was running Centaur belt, Sissel neck, offhand evasion, still had 271 AP, 900 evasion. For a person like that, you just throw on an accuracy offhand.
Yeah, you throw on an accuracy offhand, that player probably can't survive a combo.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like
unless they're whale potting and using tendons and stuff like that. I mean, those are different situations. Like outright, flat out, they probably won't survive a combo unless they buff up.
Nihilus says Kuno doesn't struggle with accuracy near as much as Ninja or Sork. Like try killing evasion with no accuracy on Awakening. It's not that easy.
Nihilus needs to exit BA first, though.
Yeah, suck. That's true for suck on a lot of classes. Don't struggle as much with accuracy on most succession classes. But a lot of people are about to be switching back to Awakening. But even on succession, like, I mean, struggle is. I still need an accuracy accessory. I'm not skipping it. The second Odyllita comes out, I'm getting a Tauros belt. Like, I'm gonna work super hard to get a Tauros belt, and I play.
Yeah.
I
can't wait to watch the endless pry fails. It's gonna be so disheartening.
Yeah, no, I thought the same thing, Nihilus, but this buff is a 7% buff. It's not get crazy with the wheel buff on Awakening. All right. Wait, no. Ninja has that crazy evasion killing dot combo, Nihilus. I'm not bringing that up right now. That's in the past. I don't know. I just think it's gotten to the point where everyone kind of needs it's a joke.
Yeah.
It's a joke, Nihilus, because someone said that. Yeah. Someone said that Ninja doesn't worry about evasion because of a high-powered dot combo.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know though. It's a good argument to talk about, or a good conversation to talk about, because yeah, a lot of people are still in their progression state, like myself, trying to decide on what to build. They haven't fully committed yet. even if you fully commit, I like, even if you decide to switch, I think it'll be a long while, even if the meta switches before the prices of like the evasion gear drop and dip and people aren't buying it as often, you know? So even if, hypothetically, even if that happened, I think it'd be a while before there'd be any like negative impacts to that market. So people could make the swap.
What are you running, Reslar? Evasion or DR?
He's been evading this game all day.
Yeah, yes, dude. Oh, shit.
I just realized
Oh,
I've been meaning this whole goddamn time. Son of a bitch.
Sammy and Tina's in chat. All right, Sammy, let's get your opinion. Have you heard the conversation?
So when Odyllita comes out, by the way, I'm gonna move my Garmoth from my offhand to my Dandy, and then I'm probably gonna swap to get some human damage in my crystals. So that's my plan. I'm Glass
There you go.
Cannon Archer, baby.
Hell yeah, there you go.
There you go.
So, Sammy, you said you've been lurking, so you've been listening to the conversation about DR evasion argument. Do you see yourself as a mystic moving towards DR, given the announcement of Odyllita coming up this upcoming week, and then all the accessories that are going to be available to players? Mind you, it will take a while before players actually farm up enough of them to make Tets, but they will eventually. I'd say a month or two before you start seeing some players
Actually,
with Tets rolling around.
Here's a different way to ask the question. Do you feel, because Sammy and Tina is evasion on a mystic.
Yeah.
Do you feel like with the upcoming gear and accessories and stuff that people are going to be able to kill you easier? Put it that way. Because he's super tanky and he'll run like Centaur belt and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like
So,
380 something. And
Sammy
I mean,
responded.
I know everyone says like Kuno has no problem with evasion, but it's very difficult to kill him in one combo. And there's more and more people, like, granted, when I'm running into people on Arsha, it's like Cho Nation people. A lot of Cho Nation or Snake, and that's just the type of gear that they run. Or I run into Choice or Sammy and Tina, or I can do this all day, and like a lot of these people have so much evasion. Like I need a Tauros belt as well on Kuno, even if some people think you don't need accuracy on Kuno. I just don't agree with it at all, especially if you're running an evasion build.
Yeah. Well, if anything, it just makes it easier to deal with those players, at the very least. So Sammy responded. Sammy said, "I'm hearing the point Frosty is making for sure. Evasion has been steadily and slowly getting less powerful. I think if it continues, going DR on a class like Suck Ninja, Kuno, Sork, etc. makes sense. On a Mystic, I'll never go DR. Mystic is simply a bad class if it's not tanky."
Yeah,
Yeah, every day that goes by,
Mystic
Evasion
Striker for
players
sure. I don't see they should just stay evasion no matter what.
Yeah. He says every day that goes by, evasion players get weaker and weaker. But I think if you stay ahead of the gear curve, at least for the moment, in classes like Mystic, you'll have to run evasion. It'll be better than DR as its power gets dwindled away slowly. So I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Like, especially in like his position, similar to yours as well. When you're ahead of the gear curve, technically, you do have the advantage of still being really tanky to most players. Maybe not necessarily the Cho Nations and Snakes out there for sure, and the randos and life skill guilds that are getting more Kafirs than you. But I think overall you'll still have a much easier time for at least quite a while. Because it'll be a while, like, honestly, before it becomes widespread that people are able to like easily purchase accuracy offhand or accuracy accessories, in my opinion.
I don't know. Ted Dons are like 9 bill now. It's nothing, dude. I don't know. I mean, I guess I've already hit it. Like, that's the thing is like I don't know. I feel like people that don't have evasion see things totally different than the people that do, because I cannot remember, unless I'm at a place like Blood Wolves where it's just generally like really, really like a lot newer players. Any of the grind spots I go to, when I'm at Secrea, when I was grinding Arsha Mansions for the pot piece, when I'm grinding at Star's End or Star's End Arsha, it is so rare that I run into someone who can't kill me like really easily. I can't even remember, like it's probably, I mean, I don't know. And I'm like, I still think I'm fairly ahead of the gear curve. I mean, there's a lot of people ahead of me, but like there's still a lot of people trying to C9 their armors and stuff. And it's pretty rare to run into someone that can't kill me now. Whereas like there was definitely a time where I felt like shit, even before I was C9, there was a time where I felt like most people couldn't kill me at all.
I mean, are you using whale pods and whatnot to help survive?
Well, in Node Wars, not in open world.
Okay.
It's too expensive, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, some players do. That's why I was asking.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's an interesting thing because for me, like now I've gotten to the point now that I can see how fast people are able to kill me. I'm like, well, now I almost like value time to kill more than my survivability, and I've seen players with DR that have similar gear to me, and they're really not dying that much slower or that much faster than I am, and it makes me wonder if I should instead have 10 more AP and 40 more accuracy, you know?
Yeah.
But it's trade-off. It's something to think about. I mean, Sorks are kind of like leading the way. Like it's literally like the Sork build now is to go full DR. Granted, like their whole thing was like, well, we have iframes, but man, like time to kill on Kuno is huge, especially Suck. Like Awakening is a little bit different because it kind of feels like it's a bruiser and it can stay in a fight longer. But on Suck, you're like in Node Wars, you got to like go in and kill one person or two people as fast as you can before you get CC'd by somebody else. So like time to kill is almost more important than like being able to stand there and just take hits for a long time, you know? Oh yeah, Vel's in 4 minutes. Ooh.
Yeah, I think it's really going to come down to class specifics, and Tina also re-updated and says what Frosty is saying is true though. I really can't survive anyone with my AP belt on. Centaur makes me be able to survive most players, but that's a massive AP sacrifice. If he wants to feel his evasion saving his life in open world, he needs to have a Tet Centaur swap on. Which is pretty fair if you think about it, because more and more people are getting similar gear. It makes sense that you would need to do something extra in order to increase your survivability chance.
Tanking. That's the point I'm making though, is like there's still an element I still hear people say like, well, once you're C9 evasion, you're literally unkillable. Like people still
that's not true.
Think that way.
I mean, some classes are really difficult to kill at C9, just C9. Like the shield classes, for example, have become extremely difficult to kill because you can't even force them out of their block.
Yeah.
So there's some arguments like that, yes. And then like Suck Wiz can just full heal if you're damaging them, so it's just like all that damage trading all for nothing, and just so that they can out damage trade you now completely because you're low and they're not.
So we need Mana Shield on Kuno. I want that 20% DR from Mana Shield, dude. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Interesting.
And they're buffing all the Awakening too. So like even the Awakening players, because those are the ones that generally I feel like Evasion has more survivability again. But now they're buffing them more and more, so that's going away as well.
Jose is like, he's like, yeah, all I'm getting from this convo is buff DK. That's the solution.
Dude, DK is the one class. Wait, can Jose still kill Sammy and Tina in one combo with DK? Dude, it's so funny. The juxtaposition that Sork is in right now, where like for the last 2 years they were the one class.
Sammy says yes.
Sork was the one class over the last 2 years that could kill Striker and Mystic regardless of the magic DP, and now Sork is like the only one that can't. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's DK's another breed.
Yeah, dude, DK, man, I'm seeing more and more Awakening DKs. and they're about to get the damage buffs in this next patch.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with that, because I don't know, man. They're going to start hitting pretty hard. I don't know if they'll be as good as Suck DK, but it is interesting that more and more people are playing on it. And apparently the PvE is actually pretty good. And I think it's more chill to grind an Awakening than it is Suck, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
Yeah. It's hard to say. Hard to say.
That's what I was hoping with the Kunabos, because I prefer to PvP in succession, but I was like, it'd be nice if I could just spin and everything dies in PvE and just have like a really chill grind, but it's like more intense than the Suck grind, because like you have to like run through all the abilities and they just individually don't hit that hard.
Yeah. Oh, was it Bear, I think, was also in on the conversation about the often thing?
Mm-hmm.
Where it was like, remembered that, oh yeah, if you're awakening, then it won't even matter.
Bear's been fighting alongside me in the Zarka versus Often fight for a while now. He's firmly in the Zarka camp.
I agree with that, but there are a number of classes that if they're awakening, they do use their pre-awakening for damage.
They do, but still, like, you can just get a Zarka. I mean, I can't. It's so rare that a single, even if you couldn't reach the bracket, which generally you can anyway, if you just Caphras your Zarka up, because Dandy Caphrasing is so expensive that you're not going to keep going. Like, you could just catch up, right? I don't know. It's like not that hard to even out your Zarka and your Dandy. And I mean, granted, the Caphras market is kind of fucked right now, but I almost feel like one bracket is not worth 18 accuracy in any case. Like, I get there's a few classes that say like, well, we can do it because we have blank, but for the most part, Zarka is better. But it is funny that, Bear didn't realize for most of that argument.
That he was talking about awakening.
That it didn't even dawn on him that, oh yeah, the brackets don't even affect awakening. So like all these players that main awakening that are recommending often are morons.
Well, I mean, that's under the assumption if we're talking from awakening. If you're talking from purely succession and you never plan on swapping unless they like completely trash it, then yeah, it's often plenty fine. I think in most cases, but yeah, no, I just wanted to mention that little tidbit because I mean, some classes they do benefit primarily from their pre-awakening,
Mm-hmm.
and it's definitely worth mentioning. Because like Sork, I think a lot of their damage comes from pre-awakening, right?
Yeah, but you can't. If you're a Sork, you literally can't run often.
Well, yeah, you have to have the accuracy. And then there's, I can't remember some other classes. Excuse me.
Are we doing the ceremonial opening of the Vel when this is dead? Okay.
Yeah. Reslar, are you at Vel?
I am not.
Oh no!
I hope we both get it and he does it. God, I hope so much. I hope we both get it.
I mean, we opened it without Nayashe last week, so...
No, we didn't. I was there. It was the week before. Oh, wait, no, yeah, you're right. Actually, I wasn't there last week. Sorry, I was thinking of the last time I was actually here.
Nayashe was watching live on his phone. He's like, I'm there with you guys. Let's open this heart.
No, I was too busy trying to get drunk at my buddy's wedding.
Dude.
Actually, no, probably by the time you guys were doing this, I was in the ceremony. That's what it was. Or I wasn't in the ceremony. I was watching the ceremony.
He was already drunk.
Weddings are the only time I drink wine.
I don't drink wine ever.
Dude, it's always free at weddings, dude. You gotta like be classy at these weddings. I was drinking wine, pretending like I'm high class, even though I have no idea what it is, and all wine tastes the exact same to me.
I drink cocktails. I like my Captain Coke.
Dude, I'm like glitching out in this boat so hard right now. I cannot break free. There we go. Can't tell what.
Vel is pissed.
Come on, Vel. Come on, Vel. Die already.
Dive.
I forgot what was. Oh, we just a weekly reminder. Please add an opt-in option for damage numbers in the game. Also, remove the second Cagdom phase from Garmoth, please. It is absolutely unnecessary to spawn Cagdoms a second time in that boss fight. Just wastes everybody's time for absolutely no reason.
True.
Yeah, replace it with the totems again.
No, don't replace it with the totems. Just remove that phase altogether and leave it out, and that's that. Those are great quality of life fixes that would make the game a lot nicer.
They should add in the jars for doing Garmoth.
While doing Garmoth, you just get buff jars.
What if they added the jars just all over the world, just like randomly?
Someone killed me. Who the fuck killed me?
All right, get ready to open your bundle, dude.
Someone in my guild got the fucking concentrated.
Oh, your guild's terrible.
All right,
That means the odds of you getting it are so low. Hold on, let me pop it out of my...
Someone said 2 years that I finally got one. Oh no! Don't leave with me. All right.
Let me know when you're ready. I'll count us down.
I think I'm ready.
All right, on the count of 3, you ready?
Yes.
1, 2, 3. Nothing.
Nope.
Dude, we're not even getting rainbow coral rings during these. Like, we're not even getting.
I did get one a few weeks back. Remember?
Did you, dude?
Yeah.
Is that too much to ask? A rainbow coral ring? Can I just have a rainbow goddamn coral ring? Dude, Garmoth needs to Vel needs to give a guaranteed 20 to 30 Caphras bundle every time you go. This whole 7 dust and 3 cronstones thing.
They should buff all the bosses so that they give increased spirit dust and Caphras, like straight drop Caphras. Like, it's nice that they added it to them, but they should probably up them to help counteract the market.
So one of the things that was interesting about the Reddit post last week from Anfield joining us on the podcast is it was a lot of wizards and witches pretty upset that rangers have any room to speak on wizard balance when Suck Ranger is just as OP.
Oh my gosh. What? Because they're hiding and shooting, and you guys are just teleporting right in front of everyone's faces, deleting everyone.
I just thought it was interesting
the same thing
to point out. It was a. I mean, don't get me wrong. Suck Ranger is super powerful in Nodor and large scale. It's does so much damage and can be super hard to deal with. But and someone was pointing out why do people complain about Suck Wizard when Suck Ranger is just as strong? And I was like, hey, that's actually really easy. Even if I wanted to agree and say that they're exactly the same balance and they're both equally overpowered, the problem is every guild has 1 ranger and 35 wizards. So it's
if that isn't a fucking prime indicator of the disparity in power, I don't know what is.
I do also
when
when
you have more than half your guild going to one specific class.
I do love also the wizards that are, well, I think it's fine because Awaken Wizard was so bad for so long. So I don't see a problem.
What?
Yeah. That's another one I hear a lot lately.
That's some logic.
They're just getting us back for all those years of oppression. All right. Let's pull up the YouTube comments. You guys want to talk about anything else? Or are you ready for some I
think it's comment time.
Suck wizards have as many brain cells as they do fingers.
Thumbs.
No, fingers.
Nope, they only got thumbs, remember?
Exactly.
I established this earlier.
That's my point, Nyashi.
Alright, fair.
Oh my god, dude. You guys
Mr. Taco, man. Good thing I don't play Suck Wizard, then I cut off half my left thumb.
Because if Suck Wizards had as many brain cells as they do thumbs, they would have 2 brain cells to rub together to realize that they're fucking retarded, but they're not, so...
I disavow everything that Reslar just said. Dark Swift 92 says, love y'all guys. Anfield says, thanks for having me again. Thanks for coming on, Anfield. It was fun.
One of these days I'll be on there when Anfield is.
Alexandra LaFortune says, in regards to the previous video's comment section about Dream of Doom against Meteor, I wish to clarify that I did mean that Meteor is indeed an insanely strong skill, and dot to dot is way stronger than Dream of Doom. My point of view comes mainly from Arena of Arsha matches where Dream of Doom is an insane threat coming from class cannot actively target. In a 3v3 back before succession, you could easily pressure Witch Wizard to keep them from applying the range pressure, while it's most likely not something you'd be doing on a Sork. My informations are probably not updated as I've been not been in the scene for quite a while. All that is to say that Dream of Doom and Sorceress is more threatening than Meteor and Awakening Witchard combo during Arena of Arsha, but in any case, it's a weird opinion, not worth going into details. And then he says, and as for Nayashe, speaking of Witch APM, I know you're teasing, so I will as well. Proper Witch movements are not done with just RMB holding. True. True.
Not true at all.
True.
Not true.
Yeah, no, Witch movement combo is actually more complex than Meiwa, admit it. Say it right now. You have to say it out loud or we're not moving on from this comment. That Witch movement combo is actually more complicated and more mechanically challenging than Musa Meiwa combo.
Tell me the Witch combo. The Witch or the Wizard combo. Movement combo.
Shift plus space and then shift in a direction. Yours is just hold one button with your right finger and drink a coffee with your left hand.
Yeah. Well, how far of a distance does mine travel versus theirs?
About 26 chases in a row. It goes pretty far.
Do they get stuttered in animation from being hit from random AoEs? Do they get CC'd in this animation when this happens?
And probably a lot.
Last time I checked, I haven't ever seen a Suck Wizard or Witch that was teleporting to actually get CC'd mid-teleport.
I don't know. Suck Wizards and Witches tell me that teleport's not even really an iframe. It's just movement. And that they get caught out of it all the time because it's unproductive.
Oh, they just, it's not an iframe. They just, spontaneously appear next to people.
Look, no one is arguing the merits of their power. I just need you to admit that one is more mechanically challenging than the other.
Why would I agree to something where they can just completely and utterly dive off of a cliff?
No one is saying one is more powerful than I agree. The Witch and Wizard teleport is crazy, but one of them
has anyone ever been jumped on?
He's evading,
like how a Suck Wiz has from teleport and then insta volte, like
all right,
the same way that a Meiwa jumps on them. Has that ever happened?
I have a question. Let me rephrase it. Maybe I'm asking the question wrong. Let me word it better, just to make it more fair. If a wizard or a witch has only one finger available, can they execute the same movement combo as a Musa and a Meiwa?
Yeah, they just set up a macro combo on their mouse, and they press one button on their thumb. Easy.
Imagine a PA setting up the macro combo for you guys. To properly move, you need to be in spirit.
Also, how much stamina management does a Suck Wiz have to do?
No one is arguing about it.
Zero.
It was a simple. It was a simple yes or no. Is Witch more mechanically challenging to move around than Meiwa?
So yes, it is.
So, which is one of the hardest classes in the game. To properly move, you need to be in Sphere's
It's harder.
Control
it's
plus
so much
element.
harder, guys. You heard it here.
While holding shift and control.
Which Wiz, they're so much harder mechanically to move around. So difficult. Heard it here, guys.
All right. Well, let's say the rest of their point was to properly move, you need to be in Spheres, Control plus LMB. While holding shift and control, then immediately press tab to unsheath. You will probably wish to bind shift to V instead. You'll need a pinky for both control and shift. After this, you're set on mouse movement, unsheath sprinting. Just press tab to get back into the combat mode with orbs, cast spells, and reset, or use quick slots that allows cast from unsheath mode. And this mouse movement sprinting is how you avoid 95% of melee CC thrown at you. It is practically impossible for a tamer to land a CC on you during such sprinting mode due to the hit scan for her melee CC abilities. I feel like that person
Mr. Taco Man said shift space and RMBW is both 2 buttons though.
Yeah, but you could just turn your camera and hold RB no matter what.
No, because if I just press RMB, then I'm going to go backwards infinitely and never go forwards.
And what if you turn your camera around?
So I'm going backwards and I can't see what's happening behind me?
You can see exactly what's happening behind you because you're facing that way. Think about it.
Oh, if I want to turn and see what's happening behind me, guess what? I spin in a circle. Weird. Oh, now I'm out of stamina.
Look, one of the classes has a one-button movement combo.
So difficult for Suckwiz and
One
Witch.
of the classes
oh my God.
is difficult to play and needs buffs, and that's Wizard and Witch. The other class is too strong and too easy.
I'm sorry, I have no sympathy for Suckwiz or Witch trying to suggest that they're more mechanically needy than just because they think that I can just right click. Like, no, it's not the same. Not even in the fucking same world. It just ain't the same. I'm sorry. Get off your high horse, your doom horse, because you know you're just sitting there just casting fucking hellfires or whatever off of, or meteors. Like, come on,
Hellfire.
Get off your fucking meme.
Hellfire from the doom horse would be insane, dude.
It would be.
Cindy's pointing out, didn't they patch out the movement? They're talking about the perma sprint awaken frontal guard or whatever. Yeah, that actually is gone, I think. Ian says all classes should be universal good at grinding unless other areas of revenue are better with classes that have advantages. True. And then Daz says, this is interesting because I hear this a lot, but he says, you could argue that duelist classes have an easier time on Arsha, therefore able to pull more drops than non-duelist classes. Then you need to look into 1v1 balance, which also have an effect on large scale. Also opens a whole other can of worms. X is good large scale. Why are they good in 1v1 complainers? Of course, in a perfect world, classes would be good in all scenarios, but living in the PA balance timeline, shrug. I mean, I don't know. I guess like it depends on
Let's be real though, tamer movement is the easiest.
the duelist classes make more trash per hour because they're better at 1v1. I mean, I guess you could make the argument. I don't know if I agree with it though. Jake Eisler says, Awaken Warrior main here. I primarily do PvE content. I have to say that I'm very excited for more higher end grind zones. Also, super armor on solar flare is going to be nuts. But as a PvEer, I think having frontal guard on frenzied strikes will be super useful. It's a really long skill animation that's unprotected, and having the frontal guard could add some more situational uses for it. Last note, my guild has been grinding Gaifa Raja quite a bit since the addition of the Butcher, and we all agree that it is a 10-10 addition to the content. It adds quite an increase to one's Caphras per hour and overall silver per hour. We recommend it. I haven't done it since the Butcher has been out, so I should actually give it a try. It is very difficult to find 4 other people that want to go to Gaifen these days.
It's like there's a likelihood that you're gonna just waste your time, and it's a lot of effort.
They do still have the low chance to get the Elton piece though from Gaifen, so you do have to factor that in.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. I thought that was during an event though.
Yeah, but the event's still been going on. They've extended like 7 times.
Interesting.
Yeah. Ali Speed says, can confirm Suck Sork is brain dead. What you guys say is accurate. If you have enough stamina, no one can kill you. Moreover, the shift plus FCC is mega fast and can be cancelled. It's a float, so just bunny hop around, spot an unsafe animation from opponents, drop and float, etc. Like, how do you call this hard? I'm a guy coming from straightforward classes like Lon and DK, and this is a breeze. Also, from my experience with Awakening, it's even way more protected with somehow even more iframes than Succession. Yeah, I think last week we were talking about, I was asking him the difficulty on what he thought the most mechanically difficult class was. Because I hear a lot of people say, because I hear a lot of people say Sork and Ninja, but in my opinion, I actually think Awakened Ranger is one of the more mechanically challenging classes, especially like within the confines of
also
a fight.
Considered one of the lowest on the tier list.
Yeah.
As far as like what's good right now.
Thomas Frixes says at 104.40, Serpent skill got buffed and damage output agree, but also they broke the skill and the issue is still present in game. And it's a YouTube link that shows that the speed of the animation kind of varies based on RNG. Although
dude, I got 61 cappers now.
Broke the skill is a bit of an exaggeration. It's like kind of buggy, but it still always works. It's just the animation speed is not consistent. But it's still a viable skill. It's not like you can't use it. And 106.50 agree, they don't stick to their rules. They want to add an option to have protection CC by bond skills, but some classes already have skills like that. And then 115, some classes can be outplayed only by grab in most of the situations. That's the number one issue for balance. Oh, we got another person that the only thing wrong with balance is grabs in this game. And then what do you think about this? And it's an image. That's my opinion on bond skills. They add different visuals for bond skills than normal versions have. It would be perfect without it. It is so frustrating to fight. I don't know what the image is.
To say that like grabs are the number one or the only issue in the game is interesting because you're basically saying Succession Wizard is fine in balance.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting take.
Yeah, it is funny, like, the two most complained about classes are probably Suck Wizard and Awakened Sork. Or even Suck Sork. Neither of which are grab classes.
Players have been complaining about Warrior too lately, like myself.
That's true.
That's just because their damage is overtuned. That's not a grab related issue. That's a damage issue.
They killing you standing up these days?
Yeah, they just Gravedigger on me.
That 50% slashing is
they
actually
literally
crazy.
dig the grave. They literally dig the grave while they're slashing me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a visual indicator would be fine. I don't think it's even going to be that frustrating to fight just because, one, most classes are going to have a meta. Two, most classes are already using a lot of these abilities and you are trying not to get hit by them anyway. Like, I don't need to know that they have super armor on Spiral Torpedo to know that I probably don't want to let that hit me. You know what I mean? Granted, after you can do a CC attempt on it from range or like a mid-range CC or something, and once you see like, oh, they can't be CC'd out, then you kind of know. And I'm not saying I don't want a visual indicator. It would be nice, but I'm saying it's not the end of the world that it's not there. I think the bigger issue is the being able to swap with no cooldown.
That needs to be fucking addressed. The fact that they haven't addressed that yet in KR is concerning.
Right.
It's kind of suggests to me that they're not really considering it a problem right now.
Mayo Knight says, haven't played BDO in a few weeks. Well, granted, in KR also didn't get a patch. So they got the bond skills 2 weeks ago, and they haven't gotten a patch either because of the holiday. So we don't know if they're going to do anything.
All right, that's
different.
fair. That's fair.
So we'll see this week. If this week there's nothing to address it, then they don't see it as a problem. Would be my guess.
I mean, my only thing with that is they did a Global Labs update last week.
No, they didn't. We didn't have one.
Or not this past week, I'm sorry. The week that it was implemented in KR.
Yeah.
Right?
But I mean, the Global Labs patch comes out one day after the KR patch, so I don't know if like...
Well, I mean, the issue was reported in Global Labs.
Right.
It's hard to say. Maybe they just want to see how players abuse it before they decide on how to fix it.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. They probably won't change it. It's going to be sad, but... Kenichi Sai says... Oh, no, sorry. Mayo Knight says, haven't played BDO in a few weeks now. Still loving listening to you guys talk every week. Keep up the great work. And keep those mooses in their places. Kenichi Sai says, because, Reslar, you need to be in a safe zone to change skill presets. So Nayashe tagging another Meiwa kind of makes sense. And no Vel opening this week. Yeah, we were talking about for the tag system that Nayashe's just going to tag a second Meiwa.
Probably an awakened one, yeah.
Yeah, you can have an awakened Maywall that's tagged, and then that Maywall will have the 2 skill presets, one for PvE, one for PvP, and then you'll have the suck Maywall with 2 skill presets, one for PvP and one for PvE.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
I think that's actually the plan. I think that's what we'll do. We'll do that meme. It's because it'll be funny.
Magnify Cream says the counter to stealth is that shy ability that blocks it for a couple of seconds. Easy. I don't think I've ever seen that that shy ability. I remember when it first came out, I was like, "This is crazy, this is cool," and then I've just never seen it.
Before Shy got it, Archer got it too, and literally no one even specs it because it's useless. Pretty
much. Really, the best thing you can do is if you ever end up killing a ninja or a kuno, you use that item on them. What's that item called? Like right click in your inventory.
Flare?
No, not the flare. There's an item.
Marking reagent.
Yeah, the marking reagent.
Oh, the marking reagent.
They can't,
I have 85 on me right now.
Yeah, so they can't
Wait, can you mark their dead body?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you can.
I didn't know that. That's hilarious.
So they can't re-stealth for... Well, they can re-stealth, but you still see them for 5 minutes, right? Is it 5 minutes? Or how long does it last?
It's 5-minute duration, yes.
Yeah. Alright, Miss Assassin's mad at me again.
I use it sometimes if it's a difficult class that I'm having a hard time seeing.
Musassin says, no, Frosty, for me at least, not that I don't want other classes to be strong. It's you that doesn't want Musa Awakening to be buffed. What buffs does it need now? I don't understand. It's been buffed so much. Dude, by the way, Bro Samden, who's 274 AP, went to Sakreya for the first time. He's 274 Kudum. He went to Sakreya. He's an Awakened Musa for the first time ever the other day. He popped one loot scroll, tried it out, got 4,200 trash. Popped a second loot scroll, tried it out, and got 4,600 trash, which is like the same that I've been getting on Suck Kuno for months. Now, if he fucking actually practiced Sakreya, it would be way more than that. So I don't know what buffs you need. You guys all said your PV was bad. Now it's good. So what's happening now? And then he says, don't know if you're just short-sighted or maybe you are ignoring it. But before Musa started getting buffs constantly, well, yeah, but they got buffs. Wasn't there a period where we were getting 0 non-impactful buffs while other classes were still getting buffs? Did you take into account that those classes still have those same buffs now and we got to play catch-up? No, because they don't. Okay, so here's the thing. Explain to me how the animation speed increase on the flows for Kuno is now negatively impacting you and putting you on a lower tier because of the animation speed increases on the flows for Kuno. Because that's the argument here, right? Is that, well, Kuno also got buffs, so in theory, we didn't actually get buffed. If we both got buffed, then we're still the same distance away from where Awakening Kuno was.
Well, it depends on the kinds of buffs. Like, if there's a really impactful buff, like, say, for example, when before Warrior got Bound applied to Ground Smash, which Ground Smash originally was just super armor with 40% movement slow. When they gave it Bound, that actually had a pretty big impact on the matchup for like Meiwa. So that was an indirect nerf to Meiwa in that matchup specifically.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of get what sort of saying, but yeah, I get what you're saying too.
But in these last few weeks, is that a buff they got in these last few weeks? Like the classes, mostly they've been buffing Awakening classes for PvE.
For PvE, yeah.
And then
but they have been doing some PvP buffs.
Yeah, and they've been doing
some
too. They've been doing some PvP stuff. But so the Meiwa buffs, let's use that as an example. They buffed your damage a little bit here and there. They gave you a few super armors. Is that knocking Musa's buffs down to they don't actually, like, they're now the same level because Musa got buffed? Like they're on the same tier before and after the Musa buffs because of Meiwa's buffs? Like the buffs are not, you got to remember the buffs are like supposed to be fixing problems with these classes. So it's like, I don't know. It's just like such a weird way to look at it. Like if you get any buffs at all, I've been nerfed kind of attitude.
Well, I mean, like imagine how, all right, so as an example, Awakened Sword got that buff to fucking Grim Reapers. Now Grim Reaper is actually usable in a very aggressive way without being punished that often at all, right? Well, would you consider that as a negative when you fight a Awakened Sork now? And how many
I mean-
Awakened Sorks do you see in Node Wars? Well, you actually tend to see a decent amount, and especially now after that buff.
That's not a negative to like your class.
Well, I'm just
though.
saying,
That's
like,
a buff
what
for that
happens
class.
is those kinds of things end up building up, and when certain classes get to the point where they're that much superior, for example, Suck Wiz, other classes start really falling off in comparison, and then they just become irrelevant, and everyone just rolls to those classes that are relevant, that can handle those classes.
But they're buffing Musa a ton as well. And
Yeah.
in
I know
the
you're
example of Grim
I'm
Reaper,
I'm just describing how a class could be indirectly buffed by another class being buffed.
in the example of Grim Reaper can be punished on the hit. And when you're in super armor while charging Musa Mewa, that's the time where Musa Mewa can't really do anything. And now they're like instant releasing it, which is in turn leaving themselves vulnerable.
Say that one again. I'm sorry.
So when they're charging Grim Reaper's Judgment, they're in super armor. So if a Sork is in super armor, that's kind of where like Musa Mewa are like, well, I'm not going to be able to CC him right here, right?
We wait patiently and we start chain CC poking right when we think they're going to launch it.
Right. Now
I catch many a Sorks prior to the
so now
update.
we have to get used to a different style because now they're just instant casting it. But the instant
now
cast
I basically can't CC it.
now
effectively at
that
all.
is that's where I disagree with you completely. Now it's just different. So now it still has a start animation, even though it's faster. But now you know they're going to be slashing immediately at the charge. They're going to charge up for a second and then slash. So now you know, like, okay, if they start up Grim Reapers, you can use Dragon Bite, which is a totally safe CC attempt. You're not going to get CC'd by it.
Sure. So I'll agree with you. Yeah, it's different as you put it. But a lot of the times when I'm fighting a Sork, for example, I'm not just sitting there not using skills, you know? So it's a lot different when you have that time period to recognize that they're charging up, and then you also have your cooldowns coming back up.
Right.
Like D-Bite, for example.
For sure.
But now they can just launch it almost instantaneously. Not only is it harder to recognize what they're doing, but it's also much harder and less likely for you to have the cooldowns up and available to actually punish it safely.
I mean, all right. The animation is not. It's fast, but it's not. It still has a wind up, and Dragon Bite is a 3-second cooldown. Grim Reaper is 10 seconds, so you can definitely like keep track of that. And the other thing is like the Grim Reaper thing doesn't take away from the buffs that Mewa or Musa got.
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying like if a skill gets enhanced to the point where it becomes like so oppressive, like I'm not suggesting
they can overtune,
that
like
Sorks
maybe where Karshins is right now, right?
Yeah. Sure. So if a skill gets overtuned, then it can make it basically a really extremely difficult matchup to where basically your class is not as effective anymore in this particular matchup. And if this class that got buffed or overtuned, maybe even if it is only one specific skill, if it got overtuned to the point where it's a class that has a major return in large scale, then your class is going to be less impactful overall, correct?
Potentially.
More players are going to be playing it, and then you overall are negatively impacted
unless they are also buffing your class, and in this case, like a significant amount.
Okay, so say for example they did the PvP damage buffs to Mewa Awakening.
Okay.
Right? So our combo damage does better. Arguably, you could say our chip damage was increased, but there's a little bit of a design flaw with the kit for dealing chip damage, in my opinion, but that's irrelevant. So yeah, our damage got up, but
no, sorry. Go ahead. I got to respond to something separate after.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. So our damage got up, yes. But that only affects our combos. It doesn't affect our ability to catch and punish things, per se. Right. So if a class like Sorks, Grim Reapers, in this example, had its normally pretty reasonable or easy to read ability to catch and punish, got its speed up increased to a fraction of what it was before. Can we agree on that?
It's definitely faster.
Okay, so it's definitely faster.
No one's denying that it is a lot faster now, but like as Defiant is saying, he's saying this is what he's gathered from what you're saying. Without a period of time to react, you won't be able to consistently read the skill. If you know how to fight a Sork and you know how Grim Reaper's Judgment works, you 100% can react to the new Grim Reaper's Judgment. Now, I'll agree if the argument is in group play where you can't really focus on the Sork, then you can't react to Grim Reaper's Judgment. That is a separate issue, and maybe that is true. But if you're 1v1ing a Sork, if Grim Reaper's Judgment, if you think it's way too fast that you're just helpless and can't do anything, like, you got to work on your reaction time, because the skill still has a windup. Turn back slash is faster, Shadow Ignition is faster, Shadow Eruption is faster. All of these other Sork skills are way faster and actually hard to react to, whereas Grim Reaper still has a windup. Yes, it's faster, but it still does have a windup that you can see and read. So, the notion that there's now it's just this instant cast with absolutely no counterplay and no reaction time is just not true. That's kind of my point with Grim Reaper, that now we've kind of gone on a tangent because that wasn't your original point specifically, but yeah.
So, I mean, I understand where you're getting at. You got to work on your reaction time and whatnot, and trust me, I'm well aware of this. But at the same time, it's like, this is faster than when the Grim Reaper BSR is being used. Like, that's how fast it is.
It's about the same. It's pretty
and
similar.
Then on top of that, it's full charge. The damage is massive. It doesn't matter which one you use, 50% BSR or just the regular one when it's fully charged. It's so fast, I just take the brunt of it before I even have a chance to block sometimes. Because, like, so as an example, like, say I'm back chasing, like, Sork does some movement slows and whatnot, so they do a movement slow debuff on me and whatnot, and I go to back chase. Well, I have to finish the animation before I can do some of my other abilities, like debite, for example. I can't just, like, cancel chase midway and do some abilities. Like, some of them you can, some you can't. It just depends on what it is. But so there's going to be some timing issues with that, and they can actually finish the charge up within a back dash animation. It's just insane how fast it is now. That's all.
Sure. I mean, I still think if there
was a window of opportunity before, the window is no longer there. That's basically it.
But the window's there is just smaller. Like, I think if you see Grim Reaper start, you can still chase block. You'd still be able to chase block if you wanted. You're in the middle.
I fought a Sork recently, and it was extremely difficult.
I know, but if you go back in, I mean, we can mess with it later and work on it. I'll bear test it. But I'm pretty sure in the animation speed of you charging up Grim Reaper and slashing it, and the fastest you could do it, you'd be able to chase and press Q. And you'd be fine.
All right, yeah, I'd love to show and see if that's exactly the case.
Or chase and press Dragon Bite, and then they get CC'd because theirs is not protected. Now, granted, it's going to be protected with bond skills, and then it's going to be a scary, scary skill. But everyone else is also getting a protected CC, so we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I don't know. Anyway, let me finish the rest of his Moosassin's thought here. He said, did you take into account those classes still have some of those buffs, and now we got to play catch up with those classes that are still getting buffs as well? Get your frustrated that Mooses keep harping about buffs, so I'll give you that. And also in the same breath, it's annoying how dismissive you are about the State Awakening Moosa, because you find the chattering in the Moose community, at least some in the Moose community. So the thing is like, there's actually way fewer Moosas that are complaining about buffs because they've been getting so many buffs lately. It's like you and maybe like one other guy. And I will never understand how, if you're getting like 4,900 trash in Sakrea with 280 AP Kudum, that you're saying that your PvE is not very good. Now, on one hand, Striker PvE is maybe too good, and I can get on board with that. But I guess coming from like the 4 or 5 other classes that can't get the numbers that you guys can pull in your Awakening kit, it's just interesting to see.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, their PvE buffs have been gradual, but yeah, I agree with what you're basically saying. Where it's not top tier, but to suggest it's not improving, fairly dramatically is not accurate.
Is also like there's also an element of like, okay, on one hand you can this is like one of those like glass half empty, glass half full things, where it's like, okay, if my class needs buffs and I see another class that needs buffs, that class is kind of keeping me on the same level by the fact that they're getting buffs. But the thing I think that some mooses don't recognize, and this is something that I pointed out a few times with both PvE and PvP, is a lot of the Awakening classes are way behind their succession counterparts in PvP and PvE. So a lot of these Awakened classes, granted, Warrior is like an exception because they're very solid now in 1v1, especially in like good hands. But like most
Jesus
other classes
Christ.
that are getting buffs are not as good as their succession. Just like Musa is not as good as its succession. That's why they're getting buffs. It's not like I don't know, I'm trying to think of like I don't know, some of these Awakenings are better than their suck. They're worse, you know? And most of the classes you're fighting are succession these days anyway. So I don't know. It's just like a weird it kind of goes
You make an
both
argument
ways.
that Mystic Awakening is considered better for its utility.
You could make an argument, and then you see that exactly 0 people play it over suck, and then
True.
the argument sort of falls down
Fizzles.
a little bit. I mean, if the damage gets buffed, dude, that's gonna be. I'm gonna switch to. I miss Mystic, dude. Talented Sniping says, yeah, only needs to be 1 RBF or even 1 battle arena. That's trial only. I just want to go duel random dudes without thinking, oh, what gear does this person have? Did they actually match gear? If I want an unbalanced random fight, I'll go into open world. I know it's an MMO, but it just needs one small spot in the game where skill is more important than gear. I still find it funny that people think that trials means that it's skill. My only
there's
thing...
some trial classes that are just like really impressive compared to their counterparts.
The other thing too is, I mean, I don't disagree. I just think that it would be empty is the problem. That was more of what I was talking about. Like a trial only RBF or battle arena sounds fun, except that it would be empty all the time. So they'd need to couple it with like seasons, like that maybe the seasonal RBF can also only be trials and they're like all gear matched or something. I don't know. Metheus War, so that way there's people in there. Is kind of my point. Like you look at the RBFs now, like this new RBF that people actually seem to enjoy. I mean, there's like one that has people in it. Partly because of Genshin and waiting for Odyllita, and also partly because Wizard is making all of the matches not fun. Unfortunately, trial only needs to also mean no wizards allowed.
Yeah, that needs to be removed from the list of players that can enter it. Class. Oh my gosh, the class is the bane of everyone's existence right now. And I love when they if they manage to kill you, they're like, oh, you're dog shit. Like, okay, kid.
Yeah. Matthias War can also be frustrating not having a grab when people can sit in a SA 100% of the time, mostly when you are melee. So when you don't have to come close, you have ranged, or you can stay in melee because you have 100 iframes. Grab is not a problem.
Wait, what?
I don't have as much context for
it was 100 iframes. Prior.
I think maybe he's talking about Sork.
Probably Sork.
I know Suck Wizard doesn't have 100 iframes though. They feel like it at times, but they definitely don't.
If you swap to Sork, that means it probably needs to be nerfed. And you did for like 6 days. Right? Was it 6 days?
I didn't really
PvE. Yeah, it probably needs to be nerfed then.
Dude, the PvE,
if you considered it, it's probably OP.
The PvE was so good, dude. Oh my god.
Was it?
Oh my god, it was so nice. It's so chill.
How much trash were you pulling, do you think?
I did. So my first time in Secrea on Awakening Sork, I got 4,600, and then my second time with a full hour was like 4,950. And it was still wasn't even good. That was like literally just like I went in there and tried it out.
Holes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You weren't like seasoned in it.
Dude, and
that's
it's
really
just
good.
it's like so easy to grind on Awakened Sork too. Compared to Kuno anyway. It's like
you're just violation spinning, right?
Just spamming violation, dude. Forward R&B. It's like a chase. Feels like chase.
It's just like New Year's Eve spamming, right?
Kinda.
Same thing.
Kinda.
I mean, they're both unprotected, and so it kind of makes sense.
So Impy says making trial able to join season RBF is a bad idea. There's actually a pretty big difference tankiness between trial and full pen seasonal, not just AP. Tavala helmet and shoes are Gaiath and Muskin. At low gear, much DR is pretty important. Also, most players who play seasonal RBF are not even full pen Tavala. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, it kind of would need to be like combine both trial and season, but be equalized somehow, so they're using the same gear. Like maybe if you go into the trial/seasonal RBF, you just have Tuvala gear. I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, you guys all want equalized gear, so just equalize it for everyone. So you don't have to.
Yeah, the whole equalized gear thing is out the window. Seasons is where you want that. Like, I think that's a fine solution to deal with that problem.
Yeah, because if you were to allow trials in there with seasonal, and trials were equalized to seasonal, and seasonal was equalized, like it was all just the same gear, then like I could play with a friend who's just starting out the game, and we'd have the same gear. You know, even though I don't play seasonal myself. Lord X says they announced suck for console. I was excited for 5 seconds until I read that we were getting 4 classes at a time.
Oh,
and
man.
He says our patches are bi-weekly, so it will take over 2 months to get them all. Such a fucking buzzkill. I look forward to 2025 for us to get Caphras. Very disappointed.
Jesus, 2025 for
4
Caphras.
classes every 2 weeks, man. Hell yeah.
Hey, you know what? That's better than what we got.
Tim says Frosty rerolled Sork next time, pick a weak class. I don't know what class is weak, dude. No matter what class I pick, it's always considered OP. I tried Lawn, I tried Tamer,
Big Maywa,
I tried Sork, I tried Kuno, I tried Ninja, I tried Mystic, I tried Dark Knight. They're all just OP.
What about Witch?
Nah, I hate Witch. And I don't like Maywa, and I don't like Musa, and I don't like Wizard.
I thought you said you actually liked Maywa when you were grinding on it.
No, I did not. I don't know why the keybinds feel. Why does forward or SF is like a forward moving skill? I'll never be able to fathom. My brain can't wrap my head around it.
Moonrise, yeah.
It's I don't know. Part of it too is like whenever I pick a class, if it looks cool aesthetically, like I'll be more inclined. Maywa, which is why I made the seasonal Maywa to begin with, but it just felt way less fun than I had hoped. Murdercon says tag system is such a good idea, but the current shitty balance of the game, not having Witchered as at least one alt, is straight griefing your guild. I feel like it will be meta for Wiz mains to tag a stronger grinder / duelist. For open world and non-Witchered mains, we'll just have them as alts. I really like this change, but it's gonna give PA a get out of jail free card for allowing people to actually play meta without committing a full reroll, not actually fixing anything. I'm hoping it's a put them in jail free card that shows them how busted Wizard is by the fact that everyone's gonna be playing it. That's my hope. Also, I'm sorry, but if you're a Wizard or Witch and you're grinding Stars in and you have any amount of gear, you do not need a duelist class to defend your spot.
No, you don't. You most definitely
you are on
do
a
not.
Duelist class already. All right.
Yeah. Like, oh my god, holy fuck.
PA is just
if I ever hear, like, if I duel for spot and I beat a suck Wiz and I ever hear, oh, of course you're just a rat class or whatever like that, if I ever fucking hear that shit, I'm just gonna flag up and gank him. Fuck the spot. I'm just gonna flag up and just constantly gank him until I go red.
Nobody says PA's just trying to ease us into their 101 their Wizards 101 remastered merge. Or maybe the code is so spaghetti that removing protected area literally breaks the game. Dude,
I
probably
see that being a problem. That's the reason why they probably haven't done it yet.
Yeah, maybe like safe zones are like coded to protected areas. So if they removed protected areas, safe zones would be gone.
Oh, that would be pretty awesome, actually.
It's like, yeah, we removed protected area, but now we can't mount horses or
That'd
jump.
be a red player's fucking wet dream.
We can't jump or mount horses. It's like when they did the frame rate lock and we couldn't mount horses, dude. They removed PA, and now you no longer can open the process window or any of the game's interface. PA was just tied to it somehow.
I'm surprised I haven't seen a red player suck Wiz yet.
A red suck player Wiz?
Yeah.
I mean, being red is just... There's no benefit. That's why you haven't seen it.
I mean, yeah, but usually there's always one out there that's interested in doing it. I mean, hell, there's a red Zerker. That's an interesting class to be red on too.
Never Famous says, honestly, just remove suck period. It was a mistake. Honestly, I'd rather see, since BDO has no level cap, suck skills being added more like Rabams. You unlock suck skills, say after 61. and you can add more and more as you level. This kind of rewards you for your hard grind, kind of gives people less to bitch at, if that makes any sense. I mean, I know there's a segment of people that hate Succession, but at the same time, like, I don't know, it's kind of fun to swap back and forth and have different styles that you can play.
Yeah, the different styles is good. It's just there again, it's one of those things, the implementation where some of the skills being OP on X class is unfortunately what made it a big problem. And all this balancing has been required since then. But it is for a positive direction in the game. They're also like by increasing everyone's PvE potential across the board, no matter what spec you're doing, like even if it's slow on some, but they're still slowly increasing it. That means that they want us to make more money more quickly because they want us to get more gains. So I look at it that way. They're looking to push the envelope on everyone's progression because they need people to be higher for content.
Laxon says, great podcast as always, guys. Random question. A friend of mine stated that Warrior's damage in BDO is FPS related. He stated that STD damage is higher if you have higher FPS, but I argue with him that FPS only helps with faster skill animations and cancel,
damage?
so you can output more DPS in a shorter time, not that damage itself. How do you guys feel about this? What
Did
is
you say STD
slashing
damage?
the dead? I think STD is slashing the dead.
Oh, that's a very appropriate fucking.
So he's asking
Jesus.
if your frame rate is buffing your damage because overall you can rattle off more abilities total, or if one ability slashing is going to do total more damage because of your frame rate, is what he's asking.
Well, I think there's kind of like two answers to that. I think the main thing is that you can pull off more abilities in the same kind of frames. And the other part would be that because of your increased frame rate, you can be a little bit more accurate. And so if you're fighting someone that's moving around, like say you're using slashing as an example, and you're trying to like land it on top of somebody that's moving around, well, you'll have a better likelihood to be able to pull off its full damage on someone that's moving around with your frames being higher.
I think
So-
there's an element of both. I just think that the one single skill being affected by frame rate is way less pronounced than the fact that you can use more abilities if
Correct.
your frame rate is
Yeah,
higher.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've heard some people say if their frame rate's bad, Spin Spree doesn't do as much damage if they're like getting actual frame drops, but not
Yeah.
necessarily.
I mean, like Global Labs, you can argue is maybe an example of that, but that could be also server desync in general, not necessarily frames.
Right. I think with frame drops, it probably does negatively affect your damage. But if you're like, if I'm 144 FPS and I use slashing, I'm pretty sure even if I was 300 FPS, as long as neither 144 or 300 has any like actual lag spikes or frame drops within it, that it'll do the same damage. I mean, maybe I'm wrong on that, but I have a feeling they do the same damage. It's just that the 300 FPS, you're going to be able to get to the next ability slightly faster. And then on top of that, though, if you have like latency or like frame drops, like, you know, when you use Shadow Stomp and it teleports you like the other side of the map, like stuff like that fucks with your damage for sure.
Yeah. I concur.
So yeah, but I think that's more of like consistent frames more than frame rate. Dancing Swords says, can people please stop saying that suck is for console players? I'm pretty sure I can clap half the players on PC. Console players have thumbs too. Damn.
You don't have
I'm pretty sure you
Succession
could.
yet.
To be honest, you probably would. That's the sad thing. There's so many bad players. You'd be able to come over here even with a disadvantage of having played on a controller and annihilate half the people here. Also, suck isn't for console since, you know, suck isn't out on console. LOL. Suck's been out for a year, dude. Jules says, F you, please make a list of Mewas so you always have one defending us.
A list of Mewas. Wait, what? I don't understand.
We need a list of Mewas. I don't know. We need a list of Mewas to help defend the Mewas. I think because you weren't on last week, we didn't have any Mewas to defend
Oh,
our
a filler? We need a
anti-Mewa
filler?
propaganda.
We need a filler Mewa.
Yeah.
We got Shockwave, we got Bunk, we got Cena, we got. Oh, there was a one from Digital I ran into the other day, Akira or whatever. There's a few out there.
There's literally dozen of them.
Yeah.
Lynn still plays Scarletta. There's quite a bit actually.
All right. And
Like
with
that's-
that is our last comment. Thank you guys so much for commenting. We do not need Meiwa's defending on the show. That until that class is nerfed, Musa will never be strong. Everyone knows that. And
Wait, what? How does wait? Hold on. This goes back to that
what
argument
Musassin
earlier.
just taught me, dude. If Meiwa's getting buffed, then Musa's in essence getting nerfed. So is what it is, you know.
Oh man.
Yeah, so if you guys want to comment on the show, make sure you leave a comment on the show, and we'll read them all. As long as it's not just insulting, we're happy to read them on the show and argue with you and debate with you or agree with you and all that stuff. We greatly appreciate it. Somehow, Rezlar, we managed to make this show 3 hours, despite there being nothing to talk about.
Yeah, a lot of bullshitting.
Hey, whatever.
See, me and Nayashe had some legitimate, like, cool debates and stuff to think
Yeah,
about.
I think that we had some engagement from chat too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if you play mobile games full time, I guess it's different. You feel differently, but anyway, Rezlar, you want to close this out?
Yeah, I mean, that's basically everything. Thanks everybody for watching, hanging out in the stream, watching and listening on the video and the MP3. Yeah, Meiwa needs to be nerfed, and we'll catch you next week.
Make sure you follow Rezlar at Twitch. You're streaming a lot of Genshin lately, right, Rez?
Yeah.
Okay, so twitch.tv/notrezlar for mobile gameplay. Twitch.tv/Nayashe.
Mobile thing.
Huh? No, it is a mobile game.
You and the. Okay.
Twitch.tv/Nayashe_NA if you want to see a Meiwa using
Right click.
New Year's Eve.
The most comprehensive movement
Yeah,
guide ever.
right click spacebar if you want to see that, or if you want to see real content, twitch.tv/Frosty, you know, where we play a difficult class that requires APM and an actual movement combo. Thank you guys so much for your support. We will see you next time, guys. Have a good one.